Chapter 261. The grand debut of the war without gunpowder. So, Baya picked up the biology book and waved it in front of him. If you want to become that kind of person, you have to study hard. Only by getting into a university can you get in touch with higher education and learn more knowledge. What do you think? Are you using this method to motivate me to study? LV Biao's eyes dimmed. To be precise, it's to help you find the right way to fulfill your wish. Moreover, it's legal. You don't want to die before achieving your goal, right? Baya said with a smile. Then do you think studying hard will lead to that day? LV Biao was confused. You don't have confidence in yourself? In my eyes, everything is possible as long as you put in the effort. Also, I happen to know a forensic doctor. I can arrange for her to give you a private lesson. Baya put down the biology book. Really? When will it be? I can't wait to go, LV Biao said excitedly. That will depend on your performance. I will apply to let you go back to school. You guys will have a monthly exam. I want you to be in the top 10. Also, if the teacher approves of you, I will bring you there. Baya stated her conditions. You will let me go? LV Biao was surprised. Why not? What you did, in my eyes, was just your exploration of knowledge. However, your exploration method is wrong. You don't have a good teacher to guide you, so you are walking on the edge of the law. Luckily, I made it in time. Otherwise, a future great man might have gone to prison early and regrettably missed success. Baya looked at LV Biao with a burning gaze. LV Biao said. You really think so? LV Biao examined Baya's expression. Don't you think you are a genius? Baya asked back. I think so too. I can't communicate with those idiots normally. I want to do things that they don't dare to do to prove my judgment. Last time, I raped a girl, and they thought she was the prettiest girl in school. She had high standards, and after I raped her, she still asked my dad for $1 million. Lu Biao said disdainfully. You have proved to many people that you are just a motley crew. What's the point? Study hard and prove to the world that you are the master. That is the great thing, right? Baya guided. You have proven to many people that you are just a mob. Yes, you're absolutely right. I'll start studying hard right now, Lu Biao said excitedly. I believe in you, so I'll talk to your mother later and ask you to go to school tomorrow. I'll pick you up from school and tutor you at night. If you're in the top 10 of the monthly exams, I'll take you to see a real anatomy. I guarantee that it's something your childhood friends won't be able to see. Therefore, it is beyond their reach. N. Thank you. You are the teacher I acknowledge. If I succeed in the future, I will never forget your guidance. LV Biao seemed to have been injected with chicken blood. All the cells in his body were clamoring with excitement. Read your book first. I'll go out and talk to your mother for a while. Baya stood up and walked out the door. Teacher Bai, has Xiao Biao eaten? LV Xingzhou's mother asked worriedly. Baya pushed open the door and said to LV Biao, eat first. Only when you're full will you have the strength to study. The body is the capital of revolution. Okay, LV Biao replied obediently. LV Xingzhou's wife looked at Baya in astonishment. This was too amazing. A naughty, willful, and rebellious child, no one could control him. This Dr. Bai just met him for a while and he was already so obedient. Bring it in to the young master, LV Xingzhou's wife ordered the nanny. Mrs. Lu, is it convenient for us to talk alone? Baya invited. Sure, come to my room. LV Xingzhou's wife looked at Baya in a new light and was especially friendly. Baya followed LV Xingzhou's wife into the room and went straight to the point. I hope to let LV Biao go to school tomorrow. I'll pick him up every day and tutor him at night. That won't do. LV Xingzhou's wife panicked. LV Biao's personality is a bit violent. It won't be good if he hurts his classmates in school. If even his own mother doesn't believe that he will change, then what motivation does he have to gain the approval of others? Baya retorted, his words sharp and cold. LV Biao's mother immediately felt ashamed. Is it really okay for him to go to school? There won't be a problem. Send him to school as usual tomorrow, Baya promised. All right then. He's locked up at home and goes on a hunger strike every now and then. I can't control him anymore, LV Xingzhou's wife sighed. Baya nodded and left LV Xingzhou's wife's room to go to LV Biao's room. LV Biao was memorizing English words while reading a book. Baya sat opposite him and asked, think about it. What will you encounter when you go to school tomorrow? My classmates will definitely be very afraid of me. Even the teachers and headmasters won't dare to provoke me. They will even talk behind my back. Who knows, there might even be people who provoke me. LV Biao said indifferently. Then what do you think? Baya asked. A bunch of idiots. I used to want to prove something to these idiots, but I don't want to anymore. I want to prove to the whole world that I am the ruler, LV Biao said suddenly. The world that is ruled is actually very lonely. Let me give you a suggestion. What you want to become is a savior. That way, everyone will worship you, look up to you, praise you, unable to surpass you and revere you. Even the places that you walk through will be worshipped by the people. That way is the most awesome, Baya said with a smile. His fingers lightly tapped on the table. Yes, you're right. You're the only person who can communicate with me. You're like the beacon of light in my life, LV Biao agreed. Before achieving your wish, what we need to do now is to study. Read your book first. If there's anything you don't understand, you can ask me. Amen. While LV Biao was reading, Baya was also reading. After all, she had forgotten a lot of content from high school. Only by consolidating and revising would she have the ability to teach others. Time passed in silence. Suddenly, Baya's phone rang. When she saw that it was Su Jiran, she walked out of the room to answer the call. I'll reach Jinyuan City in half an hour. Are you coming to pick me up? Su Jiran asked. I'm currently at a student's house. I'll come over now. See you later. I'll treat you to a meal, Baya said with a smile. Su Jiran paused. Her current state was completely different from what he had imagined. He had thought that she would be angry, pessimistic, and hateful towards him. See you later then. Baya hung up the phone and bade farewell to LV Xingzhou's wife. She went to the pharmacy to buy some red medicine and applied a few drops on a sanitary pad. After pasting it on, she went to the train station to pick up Su Jiran. He was dressed in a light blue suit, and his hair had been specially styled. It was slightly curled and tipped up, and he had even dyed it maroon red. It looked damp and youthful, and it set off his beautiful face even more seductive. The corner of Baya's mouth curled up. Her eyes were incomparably cold. Chapter 262. Su Jiran walked up to Baya and looked at her delicate face. She had put on makeup, and her already beautiful facial features were dazzling under the makeup. The corners of her mouth were curled up, and she looked extremely charming. That kind of charm was not just from the makeup, but from her very bones. Su Jiran's heart felt as if it had been struck by something, causing ripples to form in his heart. I'm surprised that you came to pick me up, Su Jiran said as he looked at her. This shouldn't be the only thing that surprised you. Just get used to it. Let's go, I'll treat you to dinner. The Savant's restaurant here is the most famous, and the local food is pretty good. I've made a reservation. Baya turned around. He held her waist and pulled her to his side. Baya looked at him and met his devilish eyes. She pursed her lips and said, Commander Su, are you very particular about formality? You're my woman, Su Jiran said in a deep voice, as if he was scrutinizing something. Baya shrugged, not letting him see what she was thinking, and turned her face away. If I were a 20-year-old girl, I'd like this kind of formality. Unfortunately, I'm almost 30, and it's better not to be mushy. As long as I like it, I can't control others, Su Jiran said domineeringly. He hugged her even tighter like a pair of iron pincers, not letting her break free. She also knew that she could not break free, so she simply leaned all her strength on him. She stood in the most comfortable position, and they walked to the waiting area for taxis. There were quite a lot of people waiting in front. Su Jiran liked the weight of her body. When she leaned on him, he felt that his life was complete. Otherwise, his soul would be floating, and he would not be able to find a place to stay. Now, he knew what he wanted. His gaze unconsciously softened. How have you been these days? Su Jiran asked in a low voice. How can you not know how I've been? Baya smiled and asked, in my mind, you're a godlike man, omnipotent. Can I take what you said as praise and not sarcasm? Su Jiran looked at her calm face. It depends on how you hear it. Literally speaking, it's a compliment. However, if you've done a lot of bad things that I don't know about, it does sound very ironic. Baya raised his eyebrows and looked at Su Jiran sharply. Su Jiran pinched her chin, bent down, and kissed her lips. A strong masculine scent invaded her mouth. Baya furrowed his brows and glanced at Su Jiran. He was so engrossed in the kiss that he closed his eyes. He was even impulsive, fierce, and domineering. She knew that she could not avoid it. Struggling would only make him more excited. She clenched her fists and stood still. Her calm eyes were closed, and she was like a statue, dead silent. She did not resist. Su Jiran was also shocked. He opened his eyes and looked at her. Baya took out a silk handkerchief from her bag calmly and wiped her lips. She said lightly, is the lipstick tasty? I'm going to put on poisonous lipstick next time. We'll be poisoned together. He pinched her chin, lifted it up, and kissed her lips again. I'll eat it even if it's poisonous. I'll die under a peony and become a ghost. Baya smiled. You do have a lot of peonies. Panic flashed in Su Jiran's eyes. His heart felt as though it was being gripped by a hand. The sourness came unexpectedly. He corrected her. No more. Since 3 years ago, you're the only peony I've had. You know that. Baya nodded thoughtfully. She saw a taxi coming from the corner of her eyes. Let's get in the car first. Baya opened the car door and sat in the front passenger seat. She said, Master, let's go to Savant's restaurant. The taxi driver started the car. Baya looked out of the window and did not say anything. Su Jiran looked at the side of her face with a burning gaze. He did not say anything either. Half an hour later, they arrived at Savant's restaurant. The hostess at the door led them to their reserved seats. Baya picked up the menu and ordered. The waitress quickly gave them the order and brought them buckwheat tea. Su Jiran took a sip of tea. I couldn't find you for the past few days. I almost went crazy. I thought you were hiding alone. It's not like I don't want to live anymore. You have the power of my life in your hands now. Baya said calmly. As long as you receive the injection every month, I can guarantee that you will live to 100 years old. Su Jiran promised. It seems that you don't want children anymore. Or, did a woman give birth to a child for you? Baya smiled lightly. Su Jiran paused and looked at Baya in surprise. You're willing to give birth to a child for me? Why not? You don't want children, but I do. Baya looked down and sipped her tea. Su Jiran was excited. He held Baya's hand and said seriously, the antidote is still being developed. If there are no accidents, it will be out in 3 months. At that time, let's get married. I'll go with you wherever you want to go. I'm willing to give up everything I have for you. The antidote is still being developed. You're going to inject me with the virus? A man must be ruthless. This is indeed your style, Su Jiran. You're ruthless. Su Jiran stared at her face. He couldn't tell if she was praising him or despising him. He tightened his grip on her hand. At that time, you forced me to the point that I couldn't breathe. I couldn't just watch you and Gu Lingqing fly away together. I'll be good to you. Baiya looked at Su Jiran suspiciously and narrowed her eyes. Su Jiran, there's something I'm actually quite curious about. With your looks and power, you can have any woman you want. Why did you steal a woman from Gu Lingqing, and even me? With my figure and looks, there are a lot of women on the street. The problem is that I don't have a good personality. You've been with me for so long, so you should understand. What do you like about me? I like you so much that you want to destroy me. Because I've had too many women. I know which kind of woman is worthy of my love. During the 3 years we were married, you didn't abandon yourself because of my flirtatious ways, and you didn't give up because of my wanton hurt. Every time I was sick, drunk, sad, or in a bad mood, you stayed with me. It was always you. Su Jiran confessed. So, even if you have to inject me with the virus, you still want to keep me? Should I feel sad for the Baiya from 3 years ago, or should I feel that I deserve it now? Baiya smiled. Her smile was so bright that it was even more dazzling than the light from the crystal lamp. The past is the past. Let's think about the future together. In the future, Su Jiran won't have eyes for other women. I'll take care of you for the rest of your life. That's the end of the bitterness, right? I won't let anyone hurt you. Su Jiran promised. Chapter 263. I'll do the injection with you. As long as you're willing to be with me, I'm willing to do anything for you. You actually know this, Su Jiran confessed tenderly. Baiya propped up her cheeks and looked at Su Jiran. Are you really willing to do anything? I'm willing to do anything, Su Jiran said without hesitation. Got it, I'm going to the washroom. She got up and walked to the washroom. After washing her hands, she looked at her enchanting self in the mirror. Her eyes were filled with confusion. In her knowledge, love was a chemical element called dopamine. When a person felt love, this chemical substance would be produced. It would make one feel sweet, radiant, and immerse in a fairy tale world. One's IQ would drop to 0. All one could see was the good points of the other party. All one would miss was the other party. If one could not see the other party, one would feel sad. However, this chemical substance would also disappear with metabolism. The longest it could stay in the body was no more than 3 months. After 3 months, what maintained the relationship between a man and a woman was not dopamine. Instead, it was one's personal cultivation, sense of responsibility, and attitude towards life. Rationality became the dominant factor. The criteria to be considered were habits and adaptations without temptation. One would be able to see the other party's good points and shortcomings from a rational point of view. Because they were looking for a partner, they would have higher requirements for the other party. It would magnify the other party's shortcomings. There would be quarrels in life. They would wear each other down until they gave up. Then, they would go on another dopamine journey. Baiya and Gu Lingqing loved each other more and more. What was the reason for that? The continuous production of dopamine? What was the reason for Su Jiran's love for Baiya? Xiaoya. Gu Lingqing's voice was heard. Baiya saw Gu Lingqing in the mirror. Her eyes flickered slightly. Why are you here? Gu Lingqing asked and walked towards her. Baiya frowned defensively. She turned around and faced Gu Lingqing. I think I've made myself clear. You're the source of Baiya's pain. Don't see each other again. Even if you see each other, pretend that you don't know each other. She lowered her head and walked outside. Gu Lingqing stood in front of her, grabbed her wrist, turned around and pushed her against the wall. I'm the source of Baiya's pain. Am I yours? Baiya paused and looked at Gu Lingqing in confusion. What do you mean? I think you should know Baiya's feelings for me better than me. After all, you've always been with her and experienced everything she's been through. You know her better than anyone else. Let me ask you, does Baiya want us to be together in the end? Gu Lingqing asked with burning eyes. Baya clenched his fists. You guys can't be together. Why can't it be? Gu Lingqing retorted. There was pain in his eyes and his brows were knitted together. Baya lifted her chin. I don't think there's anything to hide. You should be able to tell that Baya was in too much pain in the past. She was too helpless and heartbroken. Every day was an inner torment for her. She had too many things to worry about, too many things to bear, and too many things to bear. As a result, her condition got worse and worse. She could no longer bear it. If it continued to develop, she might end up like her mother, unable to do anything and locked up in the nursing home until she died. So, at the moment when she was about to have a mental breakdown, she hypnotized herself. I'm a product of her hypnosis. I don't know love, I don't have love, I don't know pain, I don't need to take medicine, and I won't have insomnia anymore. She'll probably never come back, and I don't love you. Gu Lingqing's heart skipped a beat and he loosened his grip. He would rather she pretended not to love him to protect him than to turn into someone else. He didn't know, what should he do? Baya crawled out from under Gu Lingqing's arm. She turned around and looked at Gu Lingqing, who was in a daze. Baya hopes that you and Zhou Hailan can live happily ever after. She's sincere. From now on, your career will rise and you'll be invincible. If you love her too, do what she wants you to do. Without Baya, Gu Lingqing won't be happy. Does she know that? Gu Lingqing asked in a low voice. Baya's lips twitched. You have a strong sense of responsibility. Zhou Hailan gave birth to your child, so you should marry her. The so-called dopamine doesn't last long. Love will disappear with the passage of time. Not many people can get married after a period of love. Even if they get married because of love, they might not be able to live until they die. To be able to walk till the end of your life, that is life. Don't you think that your view of life is too sad? There are many people in history who are faithful to one person until they die. Baya, don't be disappointed in life, Gu Lingqing said worriedly. Baya shrugged. She didn't even look at Gu Lingqing in the eye. If you were Baya, after experiencing what she has gone through, you wouldn't still have hope. You wouldn't still have a little bit of kindness towards this world. Live your own life. I don't want to hurt you, but if you continue to pester me, don't blame me. I won't stand on ceremony. After she finished speaking, she left the washroom decisively. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya's back view with a deep gaze. She was arrogant, cold, and like a lonely female warrior. He roughly knew what Baya had gone through. She was born in a cold home. She saw her mother being drugged by her father and her mother getting divorced. When she was young, she lived with her mother. Her mother cut her wrists and she committed suicide. She climbed out of the bathtub and walked to the door. She looked outside and realized that there was no place she wanted to go. She returned to the bathtub and waited for death. She was saved by her neighbor. Her mother was sent to the mental hospital. She didn't have anyone to adopt her, so she went to an orphanage. She grew up and could support herself. Her mother was also rescued and she fell in love. However, she was kidnapped by her fiancé and ex-girlfriend on the eve of her wedding. She was raped. It wasn't easy for her to give birth to a child, but it was snatched away before it was even a week old. In the 3 years of marriage, all she saw was her husband's betrayal. She watched over him alone day and night. Finally, he appeared, but he caused her to lose her job. She lost her pinky. He lost his memory and forgot about her. He only remembered Zhou Hailan. To her, it was the greatest pain. She chose to commit suicide. After being saved, she went to study psychology. Just as they were about to be together, something happened. She was filled with disappointment and pessimism towards this world. All the more, he couldn't give up on her. Even if he had to gamble with his life, he had to let her see that it wasn't just despair. At the very least, he would always be by her side, no matter what happened to her. Baya returned to her seat. The waiter had already served 4 dishes. She didn't say anything. She lowered her head and ate the bamboo-wrapped pork without any expression. Su Jiran picked up a meatball for her. You really should eat more. You're too skinny. Chapter 264. A cold glint flashed past Su Jiran's eyes. Don't worry. He's your father. I won't do anything to him. Baya looked at Su Jiran and smiled charmingly. What if I let you do it? Su Jiran looked at Baya in confusion. Baya made a call in front of Su Jiran and pressed the public speaker button. Hello, who's this? Xing Bachwan's voice was heard. Dad, I'm Baya, Baya said. Don't call me Dad. I don't have a daughter like you. I thought you hooked up with Gu Lingqing. Do you know how bad your reputation is in the circle now? Xing Bachwan said sternly. No matter how bad my reputation is, I'm still your daughter. I have your blood flowing in my veins. You can't change this fact. Shut up. You have that B*TCH by Bing's blood flowing in your veins. You're as B*TCH as she is. I'll sever our relationship as father and daughter and publish it on all the major networks. Don't you threaten me with my daughter's identity. I'm not afraid of your threats, Xing Bachwan said angrily. Baya's eyes were as cold as a cliff in the cold wind, but the corner of her mouth was slightly raised. I can sever our relationship as father and daughter, but I have one condition. Cooperate with me and cure my mother. Dream on. From today onwards, whether you and your mother live or die has nothing to do with me. If you continue to pester me, don't blame me for being merciless. Xing Bachwan rejected her directly. Heh. Baya chuckled. I'd like to know how merciless you are going to be towards me. Baya, don't force me. Killing you now is easier than killing an ant, Xing Bachwan said agitatedly. The flesh on his face was trembling. Baya raised her eyebrows and looked at Su Jiran. She raised the corner of her mouth slightly and said sarcastically, killing me is easier than killing an ant? I'm afraid I have to disappoint you. You only know that I broke up with Gu Lingqing, but you don't know that I'm with Su Jiran. How can you be so cheap? Su Jiran is your brother-in-law. Xing Bachwan gritted his teeth in hatred. I don't even have a sister, how could I have a brother-in-law? Also, let me remind you that Su Jiran is my ex-husband. I know very well whether it's me or Xing Jinyan who's acting cheap. Baya hung up the phone after she finished speaking. Su Jiran looked at Baya with pity and consoled her softly, Xiaoya, don't be sad. You still have me. Baya put the phone on the table and said calmly, I'm sad because I still have expectations for him, but the result is not what I want. I feel wronged and pity myself. In fact, all of Xing Bachwan's words were within my expectations, so there's nothing for me to be sad about. On the contrary, his cruelty is my sword, and I don't have to show any mercy. I will make him kneel before you and beg for your forgiveness, Su Jiran promised. Baya smiled. Her charming eyes seemed to be covered with a veil, and no one could tell what she was thinking. Su Jiran's phone rang. Baya lowered his head to eat. When he saw the caller ID, he frowned impatiently and hung up the phone. The other party did not give up and called again. Do you need me to pick it up for you? Baya asked with a smile. Her eyes glanced at his phone. It's Xing Jinyan, right? Su Jiran thought for a moment and handed the phone to Baya. Baya looked at the caller ID. She remembered the nickname of editor Su Jiran. She had somewhat forgotten what the nickname was. Now, it was Little Nian. She picked up the call and pressed the speaker button again. Su Jiran, what's the meaning of this? Dad said that B*TCH Baya is with you. Are you crazy? She's already been used by so many men, and she's sick all over. Gu Lingqing doesn't even want her anymore. How can you pick up a pair of used shoes? How can you face me? Xing Jinyan scolded. Are you done scolding me? Baya asked. Xing Jinyan paused and said in shock, Baya, you're really with Jiran. Why are you picking up Jiran's call? Where's Jiran? I want to talk to him. Go ahead, he can hear you. I pressed the speaker button, and he's sitting opposite me, Baya said calmly. Xing Jinyan could no longer stay calm. He was about to explode. What's the meaning of this? Baya, you know that Su Jiran is my fiancé. Are you going to be a mistress now? Su Jiran is just your fiancé. Why are you so angry? When Su Jiran was my husband, what did you do? Baya said casually. Her eyes were full of sarcasm. So you're taking revenge on me now? Xing Jinyan roared. Ha! Baya laughed. In my eyes, you're nothing. Taking revenge on you? Sorry, I don't have that much time to waste on an insignificant person. You're the one who's nothing. One moment, you're with Gu Lingqing, the next moment, you're with Mu Shaoxing, and the next moment, you're with Su Jiran. You're going to sleep with every man. Don't you have any shame? Xing Jinyan roared hysterically. In terms of the number of men you've slept with, whoever has slept with the most will die a horrible death. Do you dare to swear with me? Baya said sarcastically. Of course I dare. I'm just a man. Do you dare? Xing Jinyan shouted. Then I really don't dare. I'm just a man. Soon, I'll have two. You win. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Baya, if you dare to touch Su Jiran, I'll kill you, Xing Jinyan threatened. His eyes were bloodshot. He understood Baya's hint. Baya hung up the phone and returned it to Su Jiran. Su Jiran looked at her deeply and didn't take it. She seems to love you very much. If you turn back, maybe there'll be another beautiful scene. Baya placed his phone in front of him. Xing Jinyan has attended sex parties overseas. In the 3 years that I've neglected her, she went overseas every year. Do you think I'll like her? Su Jiran sneered and drank the wine in his hand. In a sense, you're very similar to her. You're a good match. Don't you always attend those parties? In the future, when you get married, you can attend them together. There are no obstacles, no pressure, no responsibilities, no burdens, Baya said calmly and poured a little red wine for Su Jiran. But there's no love. I'm tired of living without feelings. I don't want to die without someone I love or someone who loves me. That way, it'll feel like I've lived my life in vain. When I'm with Xing Jinyan, there are no obstacles, no pressure, no responsibilities, no burdens. At the same time, there's no warmth, no rest, no stop, Su Jiran said sadly as he looked at Baya with a burning gaze. What you're looking for is a woman who loves you wholeheartedly. You'll eventually find such a woman, but it's not me. Baya also drank the wine in her hand. His heart was heavy. It shouldn't be. Chapter 265. But the one I love is you. As long as I look at you, I feel at ease. Even if you don't love me, I want to be with you until the end of the world. At least, when I die, the one I love the most will be by my side. I won't have any regrets, Su Jiran confessed. Go and do what you should have done, Baya said in a low voice. She lowered her head and continued eating without saying a word. The waiter came over to settle the bill. Baya took out her wallet from her bag. Sir, someone has already settled the bill for your table, Fu Yuhuang said with a smile. Baya looked at Su Jiran. It wasn't me, Su Jiran explained. Baya's eyes darkened. She glanced sideways at the door. If it wasn't Su Jiran, it had to be Gu Lingqing. She was already eating with Su Jiran. What did he mean by settling the bill for them? She couldn't see Gu Lingqing clearly, just like how Baya couldn't see him clearly. Who settled the bill? Su Jiran asked. Baya shook her head. I'm not sure. Forget it, let's go. She got up and walked out of the door. A gust of cold wind blew over. She wrapped her arms around herself. Jiran took off his shirt and wrapped it around her. His shirt had a charming smell of cologne. What she liked was the same as what Baya liked before. She liked the refreshing smell. Jiran walked to the side of the road to take a taxi. Baya turned around and saw Gu Lingqing. He stood by the window of the private room and looked at her with a deep gaze. When their eyes met, she turned her face away and clenched her fists slightly. Jiran got a taxi and opened the back door. Baya walked towards Jiran and got into the taxi. Jiran sat next to her. Baya handed him his clothes and said to the driver, "Go to Jinyuan City International Hotel." "Xiaoya, can I stay at your place tonight?" Jiran went straight to the point. "My relatives are here. It's not convenient today." Baya refused. Jiran's lips curled into a devilish smile. "It's not like I have to. I've already waited for 3 years. 1 more week won't make a difference." Baya lowered her head. "I'm used to sleeping alone." Jiran furrowed his brows and turned his face away. There was a hint of anger in his eyes, but he didn't say anything. The space was very quiet. It was so quiet that they could hear each other's breath. Jiran's chest heaved unsteadily. He turned around and faced Baya. Baya leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes. "What if I forcefully request to stay in the same room with you?" Jiran asked in a deep voice as he looked at her with a burning gaze. Baya glanced at him and said calmly, "Okay." The word "okay" was out of his expectations. Jiran couldn't see Baya clearly anymore. "You agree?" "Yes," Baya replied softly. She tilted her head and leaned on Jiran's shoulder. Jiran's heart was beating fast. He hugged her shoulder and looked down at her. She closed her eyes. Her long eyelashes were like a fan. They were soft, and they melted his heart. Jiran lowered his head and kissed her on the forehead. She didn't react at all. It was as if she had fallen asleep. Jiran kissed her forehead, her eyes, her nose, and her lips. She still didn't move at all. "Xiaoya." Jiran's voice was a little hoarse. "Let's get married soon, okay?" Baya didn't say anything. Jiran noticed that Baya was behaving strangely and panic flashed in his eyes. Xiaoya, wake up, Xiaoya." Baya pushed his mouth and didn't open her eyes. "You're very noisy." "I just fell asleep." Jiran heard her speak and breathed a sigh of relief. He smiled. "You're really sleepy. It's still so early." Baya didn't refute and continued to sleep. The car stopped at the International Hotel and Baya opened her eyes. Jiran handed the driver a 100 yuan note. Baya opened the car door and got out. "Keep the change." Jiran carried the clothes and caught up with Baya. He draped it over her. "It's cold. Don't catch a cold." Baya responded and went to the hotel. Jiran didn't ask for another room and followed Baya to the 21st floor. "Are you sleeping outside or inside?" Baya asked. "Outside," Jiran replied. There was a strange look in his eyes. He had seen countless women, but because of Baya's words, his heart was beating fast as if it was his first awakening of love. Baya opened the door. Only then did he know that Baya was talking about outside or inside. There was more than one bed. "You booked the presidential suite?" Jiran couldn't hide the disappointment in his tone. "The service in the presidential suite is better. The room is more complete. I'm still very sleepy. I'll take a shower first. Good night." Baya walked into the room and locked the door. Jiran wanted to say something, but she had already locked the door. He saw that she was really tired, so he didn't call her again and walked into the bathroom. Baya saw that he didn't knock on the door. She went to the bathroom and looked at herself in the mirror. She looked at herself for a long time without saying anything. Her phone rang. She came back to her senses and saw that it was Su Jiran's call. She answered. What's wrong? I want to hear your voice, Su Jiran said softly. Then record my voice now. I'm going to sleep later. Don't call me anymore. I have a headache when I wake up, Baya said indifferently. Then say something nice. I'll record it. Su Jiran really turned on the record button. Baya paused for a moment and asked, why do they call you Commander? It's from the President. So, they call me Commander. The place you went last time was one of my bases. My main job is to investigate all the officials in secret and grasp all the secrets and movements of all the officials, Su Jiran explained. You work for the President? Baya was doubtful. Strictly speaking, yes. What if it's not the President who comes to power this time? Baya asked. If there's no such accident, Gu Lingqing has already lost his candidacy. As long as the information I have on Su Shaoling is leaked, Su Zheng will also be disqualified. Su Zheng is your uncle, your biological uncle. Baya was puzzled. Baya, I'm only telling you this. I'm willing to hand my weakness to you in exchange for a chance for you to treat me sincerely. I'm not Xiong Dani's biological son. Xiong Dani's biological son is dead. I'm adopted by Xiong Dani, Su Jiran said with a smile. Baya frowned. So, how did you know that Xing Buchuan killed your father? Chapter 266. The human heart was separated by the belly. Even if one could see the beating heart, one still could not see a person clearly. That was why there was speculation, probing, danger, and injury. She could feel the coldness in Su Jiran's tone through the screen. She felt that everyone should bear the consequences of their mistakes. It was not that they would not take revenge, but that it was not time yet. Xing Buchuan only had himself to blame for what had happened today. I'm sleepy. Good night, Su Jiran, Baya said softly. You haven't said anything nice yet, Su Jiran reminded her. What nice thing do you want to hear? Thank you for giving me an extraordinary life? Or thank you for loving me to the point of destruction? Ha! Baya chuckled. That chuckle was filled with displeasure, sarcasm, and blame. She did not give Su Jiran a chance to speak. She hung up the phone, switched it off, and threw it on the bedside table. She felt dizzy and closed her eyes. She did not even turn on the lights. After some time, she suddenly woke up and looked at the bedside. Gu Lingqing was standing in front of her. Because he had drunk alcohol, his face was strangely rosy. Even the air was filled with the smell of alcohol. Why are you here? Baya asked in a low voice. What do you think? Gu Lingqing asked in return. His dark eyes did not hide the sadness that flowed through them. His breathing was rapid as he looked at her with melancholy. It was as if she was the only antidote for him. Seeing him like that, Baya felt a little uncomfortable. Please get out of here. I want to rest. Gu Lingqing walked towards Baya. She was frightened and got up from the bed. He was even faster. He rushed over and pressed Baya down on the bed. Baya pushed his shoulder defensively. Because they were so close to each other, all she could smell was his breath. How much did he drink? She was drunk and a little dizzy. Gu Lingqing, let go of me. Su Jiran is outside. If you continue like this, I will scream, Baya warned sternly. Gu Lingqing tightened his jaw and stared at her. Go ahead and shout, right? Baya was stunned. She was just trying to scare him. Of course she wouldn't shout. If Su Jiran came in, it would only make the situation even more chaotic. She had been seen through by Gu Lingqing, so she was angry. She turned her head and bit Gu Lingqing's arm. He furrowed his brows, pursed his lips, and did not say a word. He stared at her without blinking, as if he wanted to see through her and take her away. He was indeed. Baya could taste his blood, but he still did not let go. Soldiers had a will of steel. Even if he was bitten until he was bleeding, he did not make a sound. He was indeed a tough guy. She thought that there must be a reason why Baya liked him. She could not push him away or bite him. Baya was helpless. What do you want? Gu Lingqing lowered his head and kissed her on the lips. Baya was shocked. Her eyes widened and she pushed him away with all her might. She could not break free at all. His kiss was as domineering as Su Jiran's. The difference was that she could treat Su Jiran's kiss calmly. She could not bear the slightest ripple in her heart. However, when faced with his kiss, she could not resist it and her breathing became chaotic. After Gu Lingqing's red tongue entered her mouth, it circled around her tongue a few times and then sucked on the tip of her tongue. There was a slight prickling pain, so she could not ignore his presence. What was more intense was the taste of alcohol in his mouth. It easily ignited her. His palm lifted up her nightdress. The temperature in his palm was as hot as the butt of a cigarette. Everywhere it touched, it made her tremble. She wanted to say that her relatives were there to stop her from further intruding. But her lips were blocked by him, so she could not make a sound at all. Gu Lingqing's palm pressed down along her smooth skin. Baya gripped the bedsheets tightly and looked at him in shock. He closed his eyes and did not look at her. He kissed her seriously, not too fast or too slow, as if he wanted her to get used to it. Baya felt ashamed. She had been on guard, but she had miscalculated. There was no logic to speak of when it came to a drunkard. He did not look at her at all, so he did not see the sanitary pad she had pasted on her. Most importantly, he still blocked her lips to prevent her from saying anything. Gu, gu, She did not know whether it was because she was anxious or because she was struggling, but her forehead and nose were densely covered in sweat. Most importantly, there was an indescribable feeling washing away her rationality, and she was on the verge of collapsing. Gu Lingqing was too familiar with her. He remembered every detail of her behavior in his heart. He increased his speed and kissed her even more deeply. Baya felt that she was almost out of breath, so she bit his tongue. He suddenly pressed it down. She felt as if there were fireworks blooming in her mind. There was a bright and colorful light. She forgot to think, forgot the environment she was in, and opened her mouth to breathe. Gradually, it calmed down. Xiaoya, your reaction is quite good. Gu Lingqing said hoarsely in her ear, now it's my turn. He lifted her feet. Baya was anxious. She held his hand and said anxiously, I'm on my period. You can't. Gu Lingqing paused and looked at his palm. There was no red. He looked at her suspiciously. She found it difficult to say it. After all, it was just an act. She felt guilty and lowered her eyes. It's true. Didn't you say it just now? Gu Lingqing asked in a low voice. You blocked my mouth just now. What should I say? Baya explained. Gu Lingqing replied. He didn't make things difficult for her and sat by her bed. Baya couldn't tell what he was thinking, so she stayed away from him defensively. Gu Lingqing looked sideways and saw her repulsion. His eyes were deep. Where are you? Where will I be? If there's any danger, remember to call me immediately. It seems like you're the one in the most danger, right? Baya said unhappily. Who would do this to her room in the middle of the night and without asking if she was willing? If she didn't know that Baya liked him, she would have asked him to die. Did you feel comfortable just now? Gu Lingqing changed the topic. Baya blushed. She didn't want to answer his question. If you don't say anything, I'll take it as a yes, Gu Lingqing continued. I didn't feel comfortable, Baya replied. Then change it next time, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. His eyes were locked on her and he replied seriously. What? Baya didn't understand what he meant. What change? Change what? My fingers are a little thinner, Gu Lingqing explained seriously. Baya, I remember that we broke up. No, it's a divorce. You even signed a marriage agreement with Zhou Hailan. Gu Lingqing, please understand your identity. You're a married man and a soldier. Should you say something like that? Bai Ye said angrily. Chapter 267. Bai Ye's heart tightened. She held Gu Lingqing's hand anxiously. Why are you so stubborn? Don't you think you're the one who's stubborn? What you think is right might not be right, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. But you have to take up your responsibility as a father. You and Zhou Hailan have a son. You need to be an umbrella for your future instead of wasting your time on a useless person like me, Bai Ye said angrily. Although that child isn't what I want, because he's my biological son, I'll take care of him and protect him to fulfill my responsibility as a father. This doesn't conflict with my pursuit of you. Gu Lingqing was also angry. How many times do I have to tell you before you understand that you can't? Before Bai Ye could finish her sentence, Gu Lingqing kissed her lips again and swallowed the words she wanted to say. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. Bai Ye glanced at the door. Panic flashed through her eyes and her back stiffened. Xiaoya, who are you talking to? Su Jiran asked suspiciously when he heard the voice inside. Bai Ye looked at Gu Lingqing angrily and punched Gu Lingqing's chest. Gu Lingqing took the punch and held Bai Ye's hand. I'll come to see you in 2 days. Call me if you need anything. He kissed her lips again, got up and walked out of the window. Xiaoya, Su Jiran shouted. Xiaoya. Bai Ye guessed that Su Jiran was about to break in. Wait. She picked up the wine in the cabinet and opened it. She took a big gulp and splashed some on herself. Then, she went to the bathroom and poured half the bottle. She placed the bottle on the bedside table and opened the door. Su Jiran looked at Bai Ye's flushed face. Have you been drinking? Bai Ye responded. He looked around the room. Other than Bai Ye, there was no one else. Who were you talking to just now? Why are you talking to yourself? Bai Ye looked at Su Jiran with droopy eyes. Su Jiran saw her phone on the bedside table and picked it up. It was turned off. He turned on his phone and checked the call log. There was no incoming call notification. He believed her. Why are you talking to yourself? I can be a good listener. Su Jiran put down her phone and said. She didn't have anything to say to Su Jiran, but if she didn't say anything, she would seem too guilty, which would make him suspicious. Practice cursing people, Bai Ye said in a low voice. Su Jiran looked at her from head to toe. Do you still need to practice scolding people with your eloquence? Are you complimenting me? Bai Ye asked. Su Jiran's lips twitched. He entered her room and sat on the sofa. Go ahead and curse. I'll listen and give you some guidance. I can't curse now. Bai Ye looked troubled. Su Jiran laughed. Why are you so cute? Practicing how to curse people in the middle of the night? I have a headache now. I want to sleep. Bai Ye asked her to leave. Because she was too guilty, she didn't look at Su Jiran. She put the bottle of wine on the bedside table into the wine cabinet. Su Jiran hugged her from behind. He took a deep breath and smelled the fragrance of wine on her body. He said in a hoarse voice, Xiaoya, I don't want to leave your room anymore. Bai Ye furrowed her eyebrows. Su Jiran and Gu Lingqing were very similar in some aspects. Was it because they didn't become brothers? It was too dangerous to sleep with Su Jiran in the same room and on the same bed. Even if she had her auntie to protect her, her auntie was not an excuse for the rest of her life. If she let him sleep with her today, she wouldn't be able to reject him in the future. I can't sleep if there's one more person. Bai Ye refused. Then don't lock the door. I'll come in after you fall asleep. Bai Ye, you have to get used to me being by your side. We still have a long life ahead of us. Su Jiran said softly and licked her red earlobe. Bai Ye's body trembled. She covered her ears and looked at him in rejection. Su Jiran smiled wickedly. Be more sensitive. Su Jiran, can you go and sleep? Baya sighed softly. No. He rejected her decisively. Neither hard nor soft methods worked. Baya wanted to lose her temper. Then I'll leave my room to you. I'll go out. Baya walked towards the door. Su Jiran held her hand and said helplessly, you should give me a deadline. Baya, I've given you enough patience. 3 months. Baya said. Su Jiran's eyes turned cold. Don't tell me that you're going to leave me in 3 months. He was right. Baya felt guilty and her breathing became unstable. Do you think I can leave you? She forced herself to calm down and asked. Su Jiran held her hand and pressed it on his stomach. It was scorching hot, like the butt of a cigarette, burning her palm. Baya subconsciously pulled her hand out and looked at him defensively. Help me get it out. I don't care what you do, get it out. Su Jiran said in a commanding tone. Baya frowned. Do it yourself. Su Jiran unbuckled his belt. She hurriedly walked towards the door. He grabbed her arm. Baya did not dare to turn her head. Turn back. Su Jiran ordered. She took a deep breath. In terms of physical strength, she was not a match for Su Jiran. She had her aunt to protect her today, so she should be safe. She turned around and looked at Su Jiran. The zipper of his trousers had been unzipped, and half of his shirt was pulled out. He was roguish and dangerous, as if he would turn into a big monster in the next moment and swallow her into his stomach. You have to give me some time to prepare myself. I've just divorced Gu Lingqing, and now I'm having sex with you. Don't let others say it, I also feel that I'm very cheap. I can't get over myself. Baya begged. Su Jiran locked his eyes on her. Baya, don't play tricks on me. I agreed to your request because I cherish you and want to win your heart. But don't waste my trust and play me like a fool, okay? Su Jiran warned her meaningfully. Baya knew that Su Jiran had a high EQ and IQ. If she made a mistake, she would have nowhere to hide in front of him. I'm already adjusting. Although it's slow, I'm already trying my best, Baya replied. Su Jiran flung her hand away. Wait here. He walked into her bathroom. Baya's heart was still in her throat. Her hands were trembling as she looked at the door. She could escape now, but what about after she escaped? Su Jiran would never trust her again. With his ability, it would be very easy for him to catch her and bring her back. She would lose more than she gained. She could only gamble again. In the bathroom, Su Jiran glanced at the rubbish bin and saw the female products. She was really on her period. He washed his hands, turned around and opened the door. Chapter 268. The corners of Su Jiran's lips curled up. It was good that she was here. You should rest. It's late. Let's talk tomorrow. I'll be outside. You can look for me if you need anything. Su Jiran compromised. She walked out of the room and closed the door for Baya. She was like a defeated rooster. Her shoulders drooped and she sat on the sofa weakly. However, her eyes were fixed in front of her. Life was full of gambles. If she won, everyone would be happy. If she lost, she would have to start all over again. She lay on the sofa and rested for a while. Then, she locked the door and walked into the bathroom. She took a shower and washed her clothes. When she lay on the bed, it was already 3 in the morning. As she lay on the bed, the scene with Gu Lingqing flashed across her mind. Her vision became more and more hazy. She closed her eyes. She had to sleep. There were many things to do tomorrow. She had to be alert. She slept until 10:20 in the morning. She was woken up by her phone ringing. She saw that it was Lu Shuang. She paused for a moment and answered. Shuang Niu. Xiao Bai, where are you now? Can you meet me? Lu Shuang said irritably. I'm in Jinyuan City now. What's wrong? Baya asked worriedly. Do you remember the time we went to the women's club together? Didn't someone do something to me? Yes. Did you find out who the man was? Baya guessed. No, but I'm pregnant, Lu Shuang said helplessly. What? Baya was shocked. She sat up. You didn't take the pill? Didn't I ask you to have a checkup? I did. There's nothing wrong. I saw that the man had been taking protective measures. I thought that taking the pill would harm my body, so I didn't take it. I didn't expect that there would be a fish that slipped through the net. Lu Shuang was confused. He sighed. Shuang Niu, listen to me. You don't have a boyfriend and you're not married. If you give birth to this child, people will criticize you. It will ruin you. You can't keep the child, Baya said seriously. Lu Shuang was silent. Baya could tell that Lu Shuang was hesitating. She hesitated because she actually had her own ideas, but she was not completely sure. She wanted the answer to be the same as her thoughts, and when it was not, she would be silent. Baya was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. She got up from the bed and walked to the window. She said in a grave tone, Shuang Niu, you're pregnant before marriage. This will be a stain on your record for life. You won't even be able to keep your position in the military. I'll learn more in the future. It shouldn't be a problem for me to go back and become a gynecologist. My father is the director, Lu Shuang said softly. But your child is an unregistered resident and can't be registered. Your father will also lose face because of you. Even if you go back and become an obstetrician, your colleagues, patients, and patients' families will point fingers at you. It will be difficult for you to find a husband who will respect you. Even if your in-laws accept you, will they accept your children? Even if they accept your child, what about your current child when you and your husband have a new child in the future? Do you want him to be unhappy for the rest of his life? Shuang Niu, think carefully, Baya said solemnly. Xiao Bai, I'm already desperate. No one will marry me. I lowered my requirements, but I can't even find a boyfriend. Will I be lonely for the rest of my life? Lu Shuang said in a daze. You're so beautiful and have a good character. How can no one marry you? I'm 27 this year. I remember that the market was quite good when I was 23. 24, and there were a lot of men who asked me out. Now I've lost confidence because of the pressure of life. Let me think about it. Lu Shuang was depressed and hung up the phone. The more Baya thought about it, the more worried she was about Lu Shuang. She went to the washroom to brush her teeth and wash up quickly. She didn't even put on her makeup and went out with her bag. Su Jiran had already woken up and was working in front of the computer. When he saw Baya, he smiled. You just woke up. Something happened to Lu Shuang. I have to go back to Sidia now, Baya said worriedly. Su Jiran turned off the computer. Didn't you become someone's tutor for 3 months? Oh yeah, about this, Su Jiran, do you have any way to find a mercenary for me? I'll pay him 200,000 a month. I need him to help me protect one of my students. At the same time, I need him to restrain my student's behavior and report to me about the situation. Sure, but it'll take at least a day for the mercenary to arrive. Are you in a hurry to go back to City A? Su Jiran asked. Baya calculated the time that Lu Shuang was pregnant. It didn't seem to be a month yet. Even if she had a miscarriage, it would be 49 days later. She was not in a hurry to go back to City A. She couldn't panic. She had to be calm. Gradually, Baya calmed down. She shook her head at Su Jiran and wiped the sweat on her nose. I'm too nervous. Indeed, I'm not in a hurry. Actually, you don't have to worry too much about Lu Shuang. She's quite lucky. I guess she'll be lucky soon, Su Jiran said with judgment. How do you know? Baya looked at Su Jiran suspiciously. He was secretly investigating all the officials, so he might know something that no one knew. If you want to know, let's go for breakfast together. I'll tell you slowly. Su Jiran smiled and glanced at the door. Baya looked at the time and found that it was already past breakfast time. Okay, it's my treat. She walked out of the door. They had breakfast at Fuchuan restaurant near the hotel. Because it was past breakfast time, there were not many people there. Baya went upstairs and ordered several kinds of soup dumplings with different flavors and 2 bowls of dumplings. Tell me. Baya was anxious about Lu Shuang. Do you still remember Shinian? Su Jiran asked. Baya had a little impression of this person. He seemed to be the son of the president. She had met him on a blind date with Lu Shuang. He looked like a bad playboy, and he was also the man who took Lu Shuang's virginity. At that time, Su Jiran even took a photo of it and threatened her. What's wrong? He likes Lu Shuang, Su Jiran said in a deep voice. That's really bad news. Lu Shuang doesn't like him. Or, I should say, he hates him, Baya said unhappily. He's His Highness, the son of the president. If nothing goes wrong, he will run for the president this time. I'm afraid Lu Shuang can't avoid it, Su Jiran said. What do you mean by can't avoid it? Will Shen Ian marry Lu Shuang? Baya was suspicious. Many thoughts flashed through her mind in an instant. I don't think so. Shen Ian's identity is so noble. He just became the president, and there must be many voices of impeachment. His father should have helped him choose a girl who can stabilize his position. But it's still possible that Shen Ian secretly took in Lu Shuang as his woman. Secret? Baya felt as if a basin of cold water had been poured over her head, and her blood froze. Chapter 269. I'm sorry, but our Lu Shuang doesn't care. Baya said angrily. She picked up the teacup on the table and drank all the water in it. Su Jiran saw that she was angry, so he stopped talking. The waiter served the dumplings quickly. Do you want vinegar? Su Jiran asked. Baya had no appetite at all. She knew that Lu Shuang was Baya's only friend. That Shen Ian really likes Shuang Niu? Baya still couldn't believe it. This is what I heard. Shen Ian is more shrewd than anyone thinks, and he does things very carefully. Lu Shuang is with him. Although he doesn't have a title, he can have anything he wants, Su Jiran commented. Shuang Niu looks casual, but she is very hot-tempered. She has very low requirements for men. She doesn't ask for cars, houses, looks, or status, but she can't cheat or be a playboy. Shen Ian should have many girlfriends, right? Baya said sadly. Su Jiran didn't deny it. In his position, a man's charm is sometimes his strongest weapon. He needs those women and those men to strengthen his position. He's only 27 years old this year. If he becomes the president, he'll be the youngest president in history. It's all because of him. This is all because of his strength and strategy. Do you have any reliable people you can introduce to Lu Shuang? It's lonely at the top, and with Lu Shuang's straightforward personality, she won't last more than 1 episode in a palace drama before she carries a bento box. Shen Ian has too many women around him. Lu Shuang can't handle them all. I'd rather him live a peaceful life. Su Jiran laughed. Why do I feel that you will be in charge of the harem at the end in court dramas? Baya was annoyed. She hit Su Jiran's hand. I'm serious. Why are you laughing? Su Jiran's expression hardened. Misfortune is the source of fortune, and misfortune is the source of misfortune. It's better to let nature take its course. Or, Shen Ian will soon get tired of Lu Shuang, and if we stop him, it will make him more determined. Lu Shuang is married, so Shen Ian doesn't need to think about her anymore. She might harm her husband's entire family, Su Jiran guessed. From Su Jiran's words, Baya could feel that Shen Ian was an overbearing, ruthless, and merciless person. What she hated the most was being forced. She pushed the table hard and said, "I'm not eating anymore." "You eat." "Xiaoya," Su Jiran shouted. Baya picked up her bag and walked out with a cold face. She walked alone on the way back to the hotel. She was afraid that Lu Shuang did not know that Shiniyan was eyeing her. Otherwise, with Lu Shuang's character, he would definitely tell her. She now suspected that the person who raped Lu Shuang might be this prince. Her phone rang. She saw that it was LV Biao's mother and answered it immediately. "Ms. Bai, something happened to LV Biao at school. Someone saw him peeping at girls in the toilet. Now the principal wants me to go. What should I do? I don't dare to tell my husband. He will definitely beat him to death," LV Biao's mother said worriedly. Baya's heart skipped a beat. How is that possible? I'm going to school now. Don't worry, we'll talk about it when we get there. Baya immediately took a taxi and rushed to school. The homeroom teacher came out to pick her up. She went to the principal's office. Other than the homeroom teacher, the principal, the dean, LV Biao, and a few other students were in the principal's office. LV Biao clenched his fists tightly. His eyes were bloodshot and he looked at the students in front of him with a murderous look. Baya saw that something was wrong. She went forward and hugged LV Biao. She said gently, it's okay. You didn't do it, did you?" LV Biao looked at Baya. His eyes were red because he was agitated and wronged. "I didn't. They wronged me. Believe me. There's justice in this world. They can't wrong you. Whatever I ask, you just answer truthfully," Baya said. LV Biao nodded. Baya turned around and looked at the three kids opposite her. An idiom flashed through her mind. "Which one of you saw LV Biao peeping at girls in the toilet?" Baya asked coldly. "All three of us saw it," the chubby boy said. "When did you see it?" Baya questioned. "After the second period, we finished our exercises and went to the toilet. We saw LV Biao peeping at girls," the chubby boy said righteously. "Very good. Fatty, follow me. Principal, follow me too." Baya walked towards the door. Lu Biao held Baya's hand. "Teacher." Baya smiled faintly at LV Biao. When heaven is about to bestow a great responsibility on a man, he must first suffer his will, tire his muscles and bones, starve his skin, empty his body, and mess up his actions. That's why his patience has been tempered, and he has done what he couldn't. Now the hardships, setbacks, just to make you more tenacious. Resolute. LV Biao understood. He nodded and let go. Fatty glanced at his companions and followed behind Baya with trepidation. After leaving the door and turning a corner, Baya asked the Fatty, "Did you see LV Biao peeping with your own eyes?" Fatty nodded. "Yes." "Then show us what you saw," Baya said. He locked Fatty in a cold manner and turned on the recording. Fatty felt guilty. His eyes flickered as he walked to the female toilet and laid on the ground. Baya smiled. Lying on the corridor in this position, facing the female toilet. Unless LV Biao is retarded, he wouldn't do that. "That's what I really saw," Fatty said firmly. "All right, you can go back to the classroom now." Baya looked at the principal. "Let's invite the second student to come out and perform." The principal knew Baya's intention, but his face was still solemn. LV Biao was the governor's son. If he did something wrong, they wouldn't dare to punish him. If they wronged the governor's son, the school wouldn't be able to escape the blame. "Let's forget about it," the principal said with a troubled expression. "Now that my student has been wronged, how can we forget about it so easily? Or do you want me to invite Governor LV himself?" Baya said sternly. That. Let's continue watching." The principal bit the bullet and returned to the office with Baya to call another short student. Baya smiled and asked, "Did you see LV Biao peeping with your own eyes?" "Of course," the short student said immediately. "Then please show us what you saw." Baya took out his phone. The short student's face was pale. He leaned against the wall and looked inside. When the principal saw it, his face turned pale too. The third student also came over. What he performed was rushing into the female toilet. "Principal, please call the 3 students to the principal's office. Also, call their parents over." Baya walked towards the principal's office. LV Biao looked at Baya worriedly. Chapter 270. After a while, the 3 students were called into the office. They must have had a private discussion as their expressions were very ugly. Baya leaned on the principal's desk and turned on her phone to record the conversation. "Tell me, why did you accuse LV Biao?" "I don't like him," the fatty didn't deny it and said confidently. Baya looked at the other 2 students and said, "Did you guys accuse him because you don't like him too?" He used his identity as the governor's son to act like a tyrant. Even when he did something bad, there were people protecting him. This kind of person can't be allowed to stay in the school. He will only harm others if he stays, the skinny boy said righteously. Baya's lips twitched and she smiled sarcastically. "You guys aren't the law and you guys aren't gods. You guys think that LV Biao will harm his classmates. Now, it's you guys who are harming, slandering his classmates. Your actions will cause LV Biao to be spurned and expelled from the school. It will even affect the reputation of the governor. The circumstances are serious. So, I have already called the police. The rest of the matter will be settled by the law." The principal's expression was very bad. This kind of thing happened in the school and it had a huge impact. "How can we not call the police? It's just a small matter." Baya looked at the principal and said, "Do you think LV Biao's expulsion is a small matter? Have you ever thought about how it would affect his soul if he doesn't see justice after being wrongly accused? It's not that serious. It's just a child's joke," the principal laughed dryly. Baya became serious and looked at the principal sharply. "If it was just a joke, you wouldn't have called us over." The principal saw that he couldn't convince Baya, so he turned to LV Biao's mother and said, "If this matter gets out, it won't be good for the governor's reputation, right?" LV Biao's mother hesitated and looked at Baya. "Teacher Bai, can I discuss it with you?" LV Biao's mother didn't need to say anything. She knew what to say. Baya nodded and walked out to the corner of the stairs. "Mr. Bai, it's all thanks to you that LV Biao managed to escape. Otherwise, he would have been wrongly accused. However, LV Biao's father is a respectable person. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. Why don't we just let them apologize and let it go?" LV Biao's mother said with a smile. Said. A phrase flashed through Baya's mind, it's the father's fault for not teaching his son well. With LV Biao's personality, the influence of his family was huge. "Madam, you know very well what happened to LV Biao in the past. If he made a mistake, he would not be punished. If he was wronged, he would not be able to see justice. Then, how could his mentality not be twisted? Let him see the power of the law and understand that if he did something wrong, he would be punished. His behavior is developing in the right direction." Baya disagreed. "I need to discuss this matter with my husband." LV Biao's mother seemed to disagree, but she also expressed that she was in charge of LV Biao's affairs. Baya smiled. LV Biao's mother must have made up her mind not to pursue the matter. "It's okay. Go ahead and discuss it. However, please allow me to remind you that the contract I signed with Governor LV clearly states that LV Biao's treatment should be completely according to my plan. You can't interfere. Once you do, the contract will be terminated," Baya expressed clearly. LV Biao's mother's expression did not look good. "I don't think I'm interfering with your treatment plan, right? What you're doing will worsen the psychological distortion of my patient. What do you think? However, the child is yours. I'm just a person who receives money for treatment. The child's future development depends on you, his guardian. I want to go back and see LV Biao." Baya nodded and walked towards the direction of the office. LV Biao's mother's eyes flashed with annoyance. She called LV Xingzhou. What's the matter? LV Xingzhou's tone was not very good. Where did you find this psychiatrist? Not only does she have no manners at all, she's insolent, arrogant, rude, and unruly. Give her some face and she's already starting a dye shop. She's almost stepping on my head. Can't you fire her and find another one? LV Biao's mother said angrily. Said. Didn't you say she's quite capable yesterday? She even made Xiao Biao stop making trouble during dinner. She even took the initiative to ask to go to school. What's wrong with you today? LV Xingzhou's attitude became even worse. Today, there were 3 students who wrongly accused our LV Biao. She's quite capable. In just a short while, she found a loophole in Xiao Biao's accusation. However, she insisted on suing those 3 students. I want to turn a big problem into a small one and a small one into nothing. After all, what our Xiao Biao did before was true. LV Biao's mother said worriedly. Don't bother me with such a small matter. You can handle it yourself. LV Xingzhou's tone became slightly better. But she said that if we interfere with LV Biao's matters, her contract with you will be terminated. LV Biao is my son. Can't I interfere with his matters? LV Biao's mother got angrier as she spoke. LV Xingzhou was silent. You gave her so much money. Now that the contract is terminated, can you return it? LV Biao's mother asked again. I can't return it. I think she did it on purpose. I've never seen a psychiatrist as arrogant as she is. She's a liar. She wants to use this method to extort a huge sum of money. If she can't be cured in the future, we won't be able to say anything about her. Also, she started putting on airs right after signing the contract. Now, she even sent Xiao Biao to school. She even skipped out on tutoring. This kind of person has a bad character. I don't believe she can take good care of Xiao Biao. Ask her to return the money and get lost. LV Xingzhou was so annoyed that his head was about to explode. You handle it. In the future, take good care of the child. You don't do anything at home and can't even take care of a child. I think I should divorce you and find a new wife to give birth to a smart and healthy child. When LV Biao's mother heard that, she felt wronged. You were the one who didn't want me to go to work. Now you're blaming me? Sob, sob, sob. When LV Xingzhou heard that, he started crying. He didn't say anything and just hung up the phone. LV Biao's mother was even more furious. If it wasn't for Baya, she wouldn't have been scolded for no reason. She went back to the principal's office angrily. Without looking at Baya, she said to the principal, my husband said that they're all children. Don't make things difficult for them. After all, they're classmates. Baya understood. Why? They wronged me. They should be sent to jail, LV Biao said anxiously. You better get along well with your classmates. Don't cause trouble for me, LV Biao's mother said angrily. LV Biao looked at Baya with a wronged expression. Baya smiled. Your parents are your guardians. I can't make the decision. Because of our differences, I'm afraid I can't be your tutor anymore. Good luck, I'll have high hopes for you. Chapter 271. I hope to find a good teacher for you. Teacher Bai is too harsh and I'm afraid she's not suitable for you. Don't worry, I'll definitely find a better one for you. LV Biao's mother coaxed and belittled Baya. Baya stood there indifferently, raising an elegant and calm smile. Parents played an important role in the development of a child's personality. Since LV Biao's mother didn't approve of her, saying too much would just lower her status. I only want teacher Bai, LV Biao said stubbornly. Kid, why aren't you listening? Wait for your father to come back and let him teach you a lesson. LV Biao's mother was furious. Baya looked at LV Biao, you're talented and smart. You don't need a teacher to guide you and you'll be successful. Even if I'm not your teacher, as long as you get into the top 10 in the monthly test, I will still keep my promise. Teacher Bai, how much do you earn a month? If they don't hire you, I will. LV Biao said stubbornly. You won't be able to afford Teacher Bai's salary. She earns 80,000 a day. Your monthly allowance is only enough for her for a day. LV Biao's mother said in disdain. The principal was shocked and looked at Baiya. 2 days of her salary was enough for him for a year. Baiya felt that it would only get uglier if she continued to stay here. She nodded at LV Biao's mother and walked out of the office. Teacher Bai, wait. LV Biao's mother shouted. Baiya walked behind the wall and stopped. You're only teaching LV Biao for a few hours. Based on the fee of 10,000 an hour, can you refund the rest? LV Biao's mother said coldly. Baiya wasn't angry. He smiled. Madam LV, you can check the contract and get a lawyer to look at it before calling me. How can you be so shameless? It's only been a few hours and it's already close to 2 million. Even if you sell it, you won't be able to make that much money. Are you going to refund the money or not? If you don't refund it, don't even think about working in the future. LV Biao's mother warned. Baiya looked at LV Biao's mother calmly. Her gaze was calm and serene. LV Biao's mother frowned. What are you looking at? My employment relationship with you ends now. However, I have to remind you that there are some words that no one will care if they are spoken at a lower position, but if they are spoken at a higher position, they will be magnified without limit. Similarly, there are some things that are done at a lower position, but if they are done at a higher position, they will lose. Baiya warned as he walked towards the stairs. LV Biao's mother was in a daze. When she came to her senses, Baiya had already gone downstairs. She walked out of the school gate, got on a taxi, and went back to the hotel. She called Su Jiran. You don't need to look for mercenaries anymore. There's no change to the plan. Bad, I'm fired. What's going on? Su Jiran asked worriedly. Reasonable, but unexpected. That's all for now. She hung up the phone, looked out the window, and sighed. Originally, he wanted to use the opportunity of counseling to get close to LV Xingzhou. Unfortunately, this world was full of too many uncertainties. There were miracles and accidents. He couldn't force it and could only adapt. When she arrived at the hotel, Su Jiran was already there. Are you okay? They didn't make things difficult for you, did they? Su Jiran looked at her face. Baiya shook her head. They interfered with my treatment, so they terminated the contract. If they didn't terminate it, I wouldn't have been able to cure LV Biao within 3 months under their interference. Were you confident that you could cure him within 3 months? Baiya smiled faintly. LV Biao is very perceptive. He's like a strong and healthy sapling. If he's tied to a straight wooden stick, he'll be upright. I can cure him within a month. However, if the people outside want to mess with him, he'll really go astray. It's quite scary. It's all fate. I'll pack my things and go back to City A. It's good to go back to City A. City A is my territory. No one will dare to bully you, Su Jiran promised. As long as you don't bully me, Baiya said meaningfully. Su Jiran was speechless. While she was packing her luggage, Su Jiran's phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID and frowned. He turned around and walked out of the door. He answered the phone and asked, "What's wrong?" Gu Lingqing said he doesn't want to marry me. What do you think I should do? Zhou Hailan asked in a low voice. Cry, throw a tantrum, and threaten to hang yourself. Isn't that your usual routine? You were very confident in yourself. This is a task given to you by the higher-ups. You should solve it yourself, Su Jiran said coldly. If I insist on getting married, Gu Lingqing will only hate me. Even if I marry him, I won't be happy, Zhou Hailan said irritably. How you deal with it is your business. That's all. I'm very busy. Su Jiran did not wait for Zhou Hailan to speak and hung up the phone directly. Zhou Hailan was irritated and stomped his feet angrily. He breathed in, and breathed out. He adjusted his emotions and called Gu Lingqing. Ah, Qing, Xiao Bao can't live without a father. I've let him down for 5 years. Don't abandon us, okay? Xiao Bao and I only have you now. Xiao Bao will have a father. I will fulfill my responsibility as a father. I will also take care of you for the rest of my life. However, Gu Lingqing's wife will only be Baiya. I'm sorry? Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. He was very determined. Baiya treated you so well. She left you when you needed her the most and went to stay with Su Jiran. Why are you still thinking about her? I'm the one you need to take care of, am I not? Zhou Hailan said anxiously. Hailan, it's clearly stated in the agreement that whoever proposes to separate first will leave with nothing. I have 3 houses and 1.08 million in my personal savings. I will let my lawyer handle it. Gu Lingqing was determined. I don't want your houses or your savings. Ah, Qing, I'm wrong. I shouldn't have forced you. Let's cancel the agreement. I don't want Xiao Bao to have no chance to see you because of my selfishness. Zhou Hailan compromised. After a moment of silence, Gu Lingqing said, thank you. However, let's follow the legal procedure. Don't worry. I will take good care of you and Xiao Bao. I will also recognize Xiao Bao's identity. That's it for now. I still have work to do. After speaking, Gu Lingqing hung up the phone. Zhou Hailan was so angry that he smashed his phone against the wall. 3 houses and 1.08 million yuan. Compared with the Gu's group, it was simply a drop in the bucket. She had more money than this. What was the use of it? Baiya, Gu Lingqing only had Baiya in his heart now. Except that Baiya was younger, prettier, and had a better figure, she really couldn't see what made Gu Lingqing like and infatuated with Baiya so much. She and her son couldn't stop him. There was also Su Jiran. He was also distracted by Baiya. Were all these men blind? What was so good about an iceberg? Chapter 272. Baiya got on the train back to City A. She looked out of the window. The sunlight was just right. It fell on the ground, and it was white. The green leaves were very green, the grass was very green, and the flowers were all kinds of colors. They were colorful and full of vitality. The corners of her mouth curled up slightly. Su Jiran kept looking at her. She smiled, and he also smiled. Time was peaceful. If he had realized his feelings for her earlier, perhaps, they would have been happy together, and there would have been 2 children. He held her hand. Baiya looked at him, and her gaze returned to its usual coldness. What's wrong? Are you hungry? Go to the restaurant and eat something. Don't be hungry. Su Jiran pulled her up. After his reminder, she realized that she was indeed a little hungry, so she followed him into the restaurant. Su Jiran ordered 2 40-yuan lunchboxes and 2 bottles of Coke. He placed them in front of her. Baiya opened the lid and lowered her head to eat. Are you still going to work at the research institute after you go back? Su Jiran asked. Yes. Baiya remembered that she still owed Mu Shaoxing a lot of cases. She had to pay off the debt before she could leave. I'll buy a house near your research institute. That way, you'll be closer to work. Cough, cough. Baiya choked on her food. Su Jiran immediately opened the Coke bottle and handed it to Baiya. She took it and drank a few mouthfuls. It seemed that men liked to buy houses for women. Gu Lingqing was one, and so was Su Jiran. I like to live in a hotel. Baiya refused tactfully. Why? I can renovate the house into a hotel suite. You can tell me anything you need. Su Jiran was puzzled. I can enjoy the star-rated service of the hotel. I'll be there whenever I call. Besides. Baya paused and looked at Su Jiran. The hotel won't make me feel lonely. I will always be with you. I won't let you stay at home alone. I swear, Su Jiran said sincerely. Baya smiled. Then buy it and decorate it well. Anyway, it would take half a year for the renovations to be completed. Seeing that she agreed, Su Jiran was very happy. I will hire a housekeeper, a chef, and a few servants. This way, you will enjoy better service than the hotel. Baya didn't respond. He lowered his head and continued eating. They arrived at City A at 6:40 p.m. 2 hours earlier, Baya had called Lu Shuang. As they walked out of the station, Lu Shuang waved at Baya. Baya saw it and walked towards Lu Shuang. I'll stay at your place today. Is that convenient? Yes, it's convenient. You're always welcome. Lu Shuang looked at Su Jiran. Su Jiran looked at Baya. Then Xiaoya, have a good rest tonight. I'll contact you tomorrow. Baya nodded and got into the driver's seat. Lu Shuang sat in the passenger's seat and looked at Baya with a smile. You came back to look for me? Baya drove. We'll talk about it when we get to your place. Have you eaten? Not yet. I'm waiting for you. Lu Shuang looked at Baya's serious face and felt guilty. He pulled on the seatbelt and looked at Baya again and again. Xiao Bai, I heard some gossip today. They said that you married Gu Lingqing and then something happened to Gu Lingqing, so you forced Gu Lingqing to divorce. Is that true? Lu Shuang didn't believe it. Baya didn't tell him that she was married to Gu Lingqing. It's true. Baya didn't deny it. Huh? You married Gu Lingqing? Why didn't you tell me? Lu Shuang was shocked. It happened so suddenly. My marriage and divorce weren't within my expectations. When I had time to settle down, it was already the ending today, Baya said calmly. So you're with Su Jiran now? Lu Shuang scratched his head in confusion. If it's just on the surface, then we're together. But if it's in our hearts, no. Baya didn't hide it. Lu Shuang pursed her lips and looked gloomily at the air in front of her. After a moment of silence, she said sadly, life is so magical. Enemies can become friends, friends can become enemies. People who love each other can become people who hate each other, and people who hate each other can become people who live together. People who hate each other can become people who live together. Baya's hand that was holding the steering wheel tightened. She glanced at Lu Shuang and her eyes flickered. She said tentatively, if you live with Shen Yan for the rest of your life, then I'd rather be single for the rest of my life. Before Baya could finish, Lu Shuang interrupted her. Baya's heart became heavy. She frowned. I met my junior high classmate last time. She even talked about Shen Yan. She said that he had changed 3 girlfriends this year. This guy, hee. Lu Shuang added. The word hee was filled with disdain and contempt for Shen Yan. At the red light, Baya stepped on the brake and looked at Lu Shuang. What are you going to do about the child? That. Lu Shuang evaded and finally said what he was thinking. I think it's good to have a child instead of a husband. What if the child's father isn't a good person? Baya said solemnly. The child is mine. It's mine alone. Who cares who the father is? Even if my child doesn't have a father, he won't lack love. Lu Shuang said with a smile. What if this is the child's father's deliberate plan? Baya continued. Lu Shuang paused. It can't be, right? Someone told me that the father of the child in your stomach is most likely Shen Yan. Baya said it out loud. She did not want to avoid it. Avoiding it would not solve any problem. The red light turned green. She drove forward. Lu Shuang's eyes widened. He looked at Baya in shock. How is that possible? I had sex with Shen Yan 3 years ago. How can I only get pregnant now? The person who had sex with you last time should be Shanian. You haven't been able to find a boyfriend for the past 3 years. It should be Shanian's doing, Baya explained. Lu Shuang could not stay calm. Is he crazy? He's so popular. Why is he making things difficult for a commoner like me? Is there something wrong with his brain? Why am I so unlucky? When she thought of Shanian, she shuddered. Her eyes turned red. She did not want to believe it. This was the worst outcome that she had not expected. She felt a chill down her spine. She looked at Baya. Xiao Bai, don't lie to me. You can't joke about this. I'm not joking with you, Baya said coldly. She sped up. Lu Shuang looked at Baya's serious expression. He felt a chill down his spine. When she knew that she was pregnant, she was quite happy. She thought that since she could not find a boyfriend and could not get married, having a child would not be bad. She would not be lonely when she was old. As for love, she was a little afraid when she saw how Baya behaved. However, the child was actually Shanian's. Chapter 273. She knew Shanian all too well. She and Shanian were classmates in primary school and junior high school. In junior high school, many boys and girls did not know what love was, but he was precocious. Every day, he would block the corridors with a large group of followers, and every time he passed a good-looking girl, he would start flirting. When she was in junior high, she was a little fat. Every time she passed the corridors, he would say, "Slow down, the floor is going to collapse. Halley's Comet is going to hit the earth if it sees you. Your face is like the scene of a car accident. Where did you buy your clothes? Can't you get a bigger size? The meat is bursting through the buttons." And so on. She had never met such a sharp-tongued person. Because of his presence, she had to go downstairs and bypass him every time she went to the bathroom. Because of the stress, she lost 40 pounds in junior high. To her, the second day of middle school was like hell on earth. The school was divided into liberal arts and science subjects. She chose science and was in the same class as Shanian. He sat behind her and bullied her every day, like putting snakes in her bag or mud in her cup. Because her hair was long and would sometimes touch his desk, he took a pair of scissors and cut her long hair, which she had been growing for several years, short in class. She was so angry that she cried for a few days. Things like this were too numerous to count. Fortunately, his father was later promoted and transferred to another state to be the governor, so he left the school. 3 years ago, she accidentally met him on a blind date, and both of them were drugged by Su Jiran. When he was still rational, he should have jumped out of the window and everything would have been fine. Not only did he not jump, but he also stopped her from jumping. In the end, he went straight in, and the pain made her want to explode. That scene was too intense. It was like a battle to the death. It was a mess. Just thinking about it made her feel uncomfortable. "Xiao Bai, what should I do?" Lu Shuang asked in fear. "Don't keep the child. Find a better man to marry. I heard that Shanian's marriage was arranged. You and him will not end up together," Baya suggested. "Who wants to have a result with him? How could he be so evil? Did he purposely make me pregnant? Doesn't he know that it's harmful to the body to abort the child?" Lu Shuang was having a headache. "Maybe I've fallen for you." "Him? Impossible, he just wants to tease me and kill me to satisfy his perverted fetish. This person is sick, beyond cure. I don't even have a boyfriend, no man will marry me. What's the use of being a nun?" Lu Shuang really wanted to cry. Power. When Baya said the word cumin, his eyes were filled with disgust. In this world, it's the law of the jungle. If you can't do your job well, you'll be replaced by others. If you're down and out in life, you'll be despised by others. Only the strong can do whatever they want, and others can't judge whether they're right or wrong. I've been unlucky for 8 lifetimes to get to know this idiot. It's an unexpected disaster. Xiao Bai, save me. I don't want to be pestered by this spoiled brat. He's a pervert, Lu Shuang begged for help. Bai Ye understood that Shen Yan was indeed despicable. He didn't have love, but he purposely made a woman pregnant with his child. This was too much of a beast. They arrived at Lu Shuang's apartment building. Bai Ye stopped the car. Lu Shuang was about to break down. He held his head and looked forward pitifully. His eyes were getting redder and redder. I heard that Shen Yan is a presidential candidate. If he succeeds in the election, will he play me to death? Bai Ye looked at Lu Shuang with sympathy. With Shuang Miao's broken personality, she might really not be able to hold on. If Shen Yan married Shuang Miao, it would be fine. At least there would be hope. As the first lady, she wouldn't be abandoned so easily. However, Shen Yan wouldn't marry her. Shuang Miao was loyal and kind-hearted, but she wasn't smart. She was by Shen Yan's side. Even if Shen Yan really liked her, she wouldn't be able to win against Shen Yan's other women. Don't worry. I'll think of a way. Bai Ye comforted him. You must think of a way. Shen Yan has been bad since he was young. He's even worse now that he's older. Lu Shuang was speechless. Okay. Bai Ye answered and accompanied Lu Shuang upstairs. Lu Shuang was no longer in the mood to eat dinner. Bai Ye sat next to Lu Shuang and thought about it. Su Jiran was the president's man. She asked Su Jiran for help, but Su Jiran refused. It seemed that the only person who could help her now was Gu Lingqing. However, it was obvious that Gu Lingqing was going to offend the future president. To her, Gu Lingqing and Lu Shuang were like the palm of her hand and the back of her hand. Why don't you go abroad? Bai Ye suggested. Okay, that's a good idea. I'll hide abroad for a few years. Maybe I can find a handsome guy. Lu Shuang agreed immediately. Get a visa first. You can't have the child after 49 days of pregnancy, Bai Ye said in a low voice. Lu Shuang's face turned pale. She really didn't dare to have Shen Yan's child. Although she had wanted to take good care of the baby from the beginning. Never fight against fate when things go against your will. You can never win. Bai Ye put her arm around Lu Shuang's shoulder. Go to the United States. I'll ask Mu Shaoxing to help you study abroad. I have some friends in the United States who can take care of you there. Lu Shuang nodded. You'll come to see me often. I'm afraid of being lonely. The word lonely made her feel sad. What if she died? Lu Shuang was Bai Ye's best friend. Bai Ye was Lu Shuang's best friend too. Bai Ye smiled and nodded. I will. She ordered takeout. The two of them ate at home and chatted casually. From clothes to celebrities, from celebrities to colleagues, and from colleagues to delicacies. The only thing they didn't talk about was their relationship. The two of them seemed to have a telepathic connection. They both skipped this question on purpose. It was dawn. Bai Ye woke up naturally, and so did Lu Shuang. The two of them smiled. After breakfast, she took Lu Shuang to the research institute to ask Mu Shaoxing for help. Mu Shaoxing agreed readily. He contacted the university in the United States, and the university immediately sent him an admission notice. Go to the American embassy and write the application materials. Then, wait for the notice, Mu Shaoxing said to Lu Shuang. Thank you, Mu Shaoxing. I'll go and apply now. When it's done, I'll treat you to dinner, Lu Shuang said with a smile. I'll go with you. Bai Ye was worried. Okay. Lu Shuang hugged Bai Ye's arm. Bai Ye drove to the entrance of the American embassy. Lu Shuang got out of the car first. Bai Ye went to park the car. A black van stopped in front of Lu Shuang. The door opened. Two well-trained people got out of the van and carried Lu Shuang. Bai Ye. Lu Shuang exclaimed. Bai Ye vaguely heard Lu Shuang's voice. She looked towards the entrance of the American embassy. Chapter 274. Baiya's heart tightened and she shouted anxiously, "Lu Shuang." The van drove away. Baiya quickly started the car again and chased after it. When the van got on the road, Baiya saw another van that looked exactly the same driving over. She was afraid of being confused, so she looked at the license plate of the van that kidnapped Lu Shuang. *2S345. When the van reached an intersection, 4 or 5 similar vans drove over from both sides. Baiya was anxious. This kidnapping seemed to be deliberate. She called 110 as she drove. "Hello, I'm Baiya. My friend was kidnapped in front of the American embassy. Now the car that kidnapped her is on Wui Road. The license plate is *2S345. Please help to stop it. I'm following that van now. I'll let you know at any time." "But, where is the car?" The traffic light was about to turn red. Baiya was afraid that she would lose it, so she sped up. A van behind her stopped in front of her. It deliberately stopped at the traffic light so that the van in front could pass it first. Baiya knew that they were deliberately stopping her. She was too anxious, so she ran the red light and looked for the van with the license plate *2S345. 1 van, 2 vans, 3 vans. All the vans she saw had the license plate numbers of *2S345. There was another intersection in front of her. The van split into 3 roads. She was about to break down. She had no idea which van had Lu Shuang in. She could only follow one of the vans closely. At least, they were in cahoots. She said to the police, "There are more than 10 *2S345 vans on the road. I don't know which one of them has my friend in it. I'm following one now. They are all in cahoots. Please set up a roadblock and stop one of them. We've registered it. We're going to apply to our superiors now. We'll inform you later," the police said. Baiya smashed the car horn angrily. There were many regulations in Country A, and the procedures were troublesome. By the time they applied, Lu Shuang might be in trouble. She thought for a while and tried to calm herself down. The angrier she was, the more useless it was. She hung up and called Su Jiran. "Xiaoya. You're awake? Shall we have lunch together?" Su Jiran asked. "Su Jiran, I need your help. Lu Shuang was kidnapped in front of the U.S. Embassy. She was in the van with the license plate *2S345, but there were more than 10 vans with the license plate *23345. They were all the same, and I didn't know which one had Lu Shuang. However, they are definitely in cahoots. I'm following one of them now. Can you help me stop it?" Baiya asked anxiously. "Even if we stop him, there's no evidence," Su Jiran said in a low voice. "At least I know who took Lu Shuang away. Shen Yiyan." Su Jiran said with certainty, Shen Yiyan's men have been following Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang must have angered Shen Yiyan by going to the U.S. Embassy, so his men came to take Lu Shuang away. But don't worry, Lu Shuang will be fine. Baiya felt a chill run down her spine, and her face turned pale. Lu Shuang worshipped freedom the most. Shen Yiyan's behavior was equivalent to kidnapping and imprisoning him. "Can you help me save Lu Shuang?" Baiya asked. Su Jiran was silent. "Jiran, Lu Shuang is my only friend. I can't let anything happen to her," Baiya said again. "I'm afraid she can't be taken away by Shen Yiyan." Since Su Jiran said so, she couldn't leave Lu Shuang alone. She couldn't get over it. Anyway, her life had been ruined. She was willing to use her broken life to exchange for Lu Shuang's light. "If you can save Lu Shuang, I can do whatever you want." Her hint was clear enough. Su Jiran was so smart. He should understand. She is in Shen Yiyan's place. She can't be saved. Shen Yiyan has more secret chambers than I do. But, Xiaoya, don't worry too much. Shen Yiyan won't hurt her. I promise, if there's a chance, I'll let you meet Lu Shuang. Baiya hung up the phone angrily and pulled over. Su Jiran said he loved her. Was that love? He was afraid of offending Shen Yiyan and the president. After all, he was the most important person in Su Jiran's heart. He only cared about himself and didn't care about others. That was why he had injected the virus into her body without mercy. She knocked on the car again and the shrill honk rang in her ears. It was as if she was venting all her anger. Someone knocked on the car window. Baiya let go and lowered the window. It was a middle-aged woman. Are you crazy? Why are you honking? You're disturbing everyone, the middle-aged woman scolded with her hands on her waist. Baiya didn't say anything and just closed the window. The middle-aged woman didn't feel satisfied yet. Seeing Baiya's bad attitude, she knocked on the window again. Baiya started the car. Seeing that Baiya was about to leave, the middle-aged woman kicked the car door hard. Get out. You want to run away after doing something wrong? That's what your mother taught you. Baiya's eyes flashed. She pushed the car door open and got out. She said sternly, your mother taught you to destroy other people's cars. Yo, you were the one who honked and disturbed the passers-by. Now you're in the right? The middle-aged woman widened her eyes. Indeed, there's no point in arguing with unreasonable people. You can get lost now. Baiya went to open the car door. The middle-aged woman flew into a rage and pulled Baiya's hair. Baiya instantly felt her hair go numb. Apologize, you be *tch. The middle-aged woman scolded. Baiya grabbed the middle-aged woman's hair and pulled it down with great force. The middle-aged woman was in so much pain that she was about to cry. She said sternly, let go. Baiya used more force. You started it. Why should I let go? The middle-aged woman screamed in pain. I'll let go first, then you. She let go. Baiya pushed her away. Get lost. You be *tch. The middle-aged woman wanted to rush over again. Baiya took the safety hammer from Lu Shuang's car. The middle-aged woman stopped. She looked at the hammer in Baiya's hand, then looked at Baiya. How dare you? If you don't disappear in 3 seconds, I'll see if I dare. Baiya said sharply. The middle-aged woman saw that Baiya didn't seem to be lying, so she ran away dejectedly. Baiya returned to the car and threw the safety hammer in the front passenger seat. After the fight, she calmed down. It was useless to be irritable and angry. She dialed Gu Lingqing's number. Gu Lingqing picked up and said uncertainly, Xiaoya? I'll go to Blue Sky Courtyard now. Let's meet him, Baiya said in a low voice. All right, I'll go now. See you later. Gu Lingqing agreed immediately. Baiya stared into the distance. The sunlight fell on the mist in her eyes, reflecting the sparkling light. She wanted to never have anything to do with him. Chapter 275. Baiya bought a pair of jeans, a cap, and a black tracksuit with a hat in the mall. Then she went to a nearby hotel and booked a room. She took a shower in the room and changed into the new clothes. She put on the cap, the tracksuit, and a pair of black-rimmed glasses. The baby didn't take them on purpose. He just took the room card and 600 yuan in cash. She didn't drive. She took a taxi and said in a low voice, "Go to Blue Sky Villa." It took her more than 40 minutes to get to Blue Sky Villa from where she lived. When she arrived, Gu Lingqing wasn't there yet. She stood at the door for about half an hour. A black Hummer drove over. Gu Lingqing stopped the car in front of her and got out. He came alone. Xiaoya, what's wrong? Gu Lingqing was worried and looked at her face. Let's talk after we go in. Baiya nodded and glanced at the house. Gu Lingqing opened the door. Baiya went in, took a deep breath, turned around and faced Gu Lingqing. "There's one thing I want to ask for your help. If you promise." Baya paused. She really didn't expect that one day, she would use herself as a reward. It was hard to say the following words. "If I promise?" Gu Lingqing stared at Baya with burning eyes. She lowered her eyes. She thought of Lu Shuang's safety. Her life was ruined and she couldn't live for long. She should at least protect one of them. Besides, Baya had feelings for Gu Lingqing. She made up her mind, raised her head, and looked straight at Gu Lingqing. "If you agree, I'll be the woman behind your back for 3 months. I remember I promised to help you with the psychological test for the soldiers, and it's also exactly 3 months." Gu Lingqing lifted her chin. Baya didn't move. She was so nervous that she didn't even breathe. He kissed her lightly on the lips and looked into her eyes lovingly. "Even if you don't have any conditions, I will do whatever you want me to do." Baya's heart seemed to have been struck by something, trembling violently. No wonder Baya liked him. Indeed, this man had great charisma. However, she was an ominous person. It seemed that she had harmed him again. Baya seriously pushed Gu Lingqing's hand away. "Listen to me first, then consider whether you want to help or not." "Say it, what do you want me to do?" His tone was very firm, as if no matter what she said, he would agree. This matter would affect his future. Suddenly, she didn't want to say it. Lu Shuang and Gu Lingqing were both people she wanted to protect. However, it seemed that for one of them, she would kill the other. She had to think again. Baya looked away. Gu Lingqing turned her face so that she was facing him. He looked into her eyes firmly. "Trust me. Trust him." Gu Lingqing was so powerful. He was brave, smart, and responsible. She believed in him. However, some selfishness and reluctance made her not want him to take the risk. But Lu Shuang, he was her only friend. How could she bear to do that? "Gu Lingqing, if you offend the president, what will happen?" Baya asked tentatively. Gu Lingqing's eyes flickered slightly, and he looked at her deeply. He understood her personality too well. She was testing him, just like when she was in the dungeon, testing him. Would he be released? He was sure that what she was talking about was related to the president. "Nothing much, it doesn't matter," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baya had hope, but she was not so relieved. She probed again, "Are you sure he won't make things difficult for you?" "The president intends to let his son take over the position of the president. A young man who is still young will be impeached when he comes to power. With my position, he won't dare to touch me," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. "What if he is young?" Baya was worried. "The president will be elected every 4 years. I promise you, the president after 4 years will be me. I will stand at the top, and no one can shake my position," Gu Lingqing promised. Baya's eyes were misty, and the corners of her mouth raised slightly. 4 years later, she would be gone, right? He had made so many sacrifices for her, but she couldn't be with him forever. 3 months was probably the maximum deadline. She felt that Gu Lingqing wasn't worth it, so she was pitiful. She stood on tiptoe, her lips touching his, and closed her eyes. Gu Lingqing looked down at her. Her eyelashes trembled slightly, like a feather fan, teasing his heart. Gu Lingqing hugged her waist and pulled her to his side, hugging her very tightly. He had finally waited for her. God knows how he spent the days when she was not by his side. He was in a state of madness almost every day, unable to control his temper and emotions. His heart was heavy, and when he woke up with pain. He missed her to the point where he could not control himself. He ran to see her, wanting to break open her head and see her heart. Then, he would point at her heart and say to Baya, "Look, you love me." Gu Lingqing closed his eyes and deepened the kiss. He was careful, as if he was protecting a treasure. Different from that night, he was so gentle that he wanted to melt her. She did not know who started it first. The two of them twirled and tangled, and Gu Lingqing turned on the air conditioner. His clothes seemed to be taken off by her. He also took off her clothes, pants, and put her on the sofa. The moment he wanted to kiss her, she became nervous, held his arm tightly, and looked into his dark eyes. He looked back at her. She saw herself in his eyes, and there was a hint of confusion and panic. Was it right or wrong for her to do this? Was it redemption or a predestined fate? Was it to make up for it or sink deeper? She did not know, so she was afraid. When Gu Lingqing kissed her, it was light, but when he entered, it was heavy. Just like the impression he gave people, he was strong and powerful. The pain brought an indescribable joy, and the initial running in became a wonderful state of communication. She no longer felt pain, and she no longer let her imagination run wild. The days she spent with him were so precious, and every day that passed was one day less. She wanted to show her most dazzling self in front of him. Even if she died, she would have no regrets. When she came out, she hugged him tightly and rested her face on his shoulder. The hug closed the distance between their hearts, but the other party could not see the expression on their faces. Baya could not help but cry. She could not bear to leave Gu Lingqing. When Baya hypnotized herself, in fact, she should have hypnotized her feelings for Gu Lingqing, and she should have blocked her own memory, so that she would become more indifferent, just a tool to complete the task. Was it her, from the beginning to the end, she could not bear to leave Gu Lingqing? Chapter 276. Actually, what Baya understood the most was that the fastest way to cure a mental patient was to block all the painful memories of the patient. She had spent 3 years on this research and was a very talented scholar. Through continuous hard work and case studies, she was one of the top 10 experts in this field. Perhaps, the reason why a mental patient became a mental patient was because the painful memories were too deep. The family of a mental patient loved them too much and hoped that they would forget the painful meeting and live a normal life again. But the mental patient was not willing to come out. Gu Lingqing sped up. She heard his low voice and knew what he was thinking. She quickly wiped her tears. Gu Lingqing kissed her forehead and eyes. He tasted the salty taste and looked at her worriedly. Her eyes were still slightly red. "Why are you crying? Did I hurt you?" Gu Lingqing asked worriedly. Baya shook her head. "No, it's very comfortable." "You're crying because of comfort?" Gu Lingqing did not believe her. "Let me see." He lowered his head. Baya felt shy and avoided his hand. She wrapped her arms around her ankles. "Why would I lie to you? Can't you feel it?" Gu Lingqing's face was full of sensuality because his desire had not disappeared. He sat next to her and rubbed the area under her eyes with his thumb. "Then why are you crying?" Baya did not want to tell him why she was crying. It was because there was no future between them. She lowered her eyes and said softly, "It's too comfortable." He looked at her shy look and finally believed her. The corners of his lips curled up slightly. "Did I make you uncomfortable before?" "No," Baya said with her head lowered. Gu Lingqing carried Baya. She grabbed his arm subconsciously. "Take a bath first, then tell me what you want me to do." Gu Lingqing said domineeringly and put her in the bathtub. The moment she gave herself to him, she was ready to tell him what it was. Gu Lingqing filled the warm water for her. She gazed at him. "I have a friend named Lu Shuang. You know him, right? I know you care about her very much. She has been captured by Shiniyan. I want to rescue her. Then escort her abroad," Baya said. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya in surprise. Why did Shiniyan arrest her? Is there any connection between them? They should be classmates in elementary school and junior high school. At that time, Shiniyan's father wasn't the president yet, he was only the governor, and Lu Shuang's father was already the deputy dean or even the dean, right? Therefore, it was normal for them to study in the same school. Later, when Shiniyan's father rose to the top and became the president, they no longer kept in touch. 3 years ago, Shiniyan held a blind date. I went, Lu Shuang went, and so did you, Baiya recalled. I went too. Gu Lingqing was a little shocked. Without this memory, he seemed to have missed out on a lot of beautiful memories. Because of some unexpected events, Lu Shuang and Shen Yiyan had sex. I don't know what Shen Yiyan was thinking, but he wanted to bring Lu Shuang into his harem. Lu Shuang didn't want to, so he kidnapped her. If I'm not wrong, Lu Shuang has Shen Yiyan's child in his belly, Baiya said. You said that Lu Shuang has Shen Yiyan's child in his belly? I'm not sure, Su Jiran told me. Baiya had a bad feeling and suddenly became nervous. Is it possible that Su Jiran wants to frame you through me again? Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened. Xiaoya, I promise you that within a month, I will definitely save Lu Shuang. I will be very, very careful. I was framed last time not because of you, but because I was too careless. Don't blame yourself. How could she not blame herself? If it weren't for the fact that Gu Lingqing trusted her, he wouldn't have investigated it clearly. Gu Lingqing said that because he didn't want her to feel guilty. However, she knew in her heart that it was clearer than a mirror. She would be paranoid and get into a dead end because she was emotional or cared too much about something. Save Lu Shuang within 3 months. Lu Shuang was pregnant, so Shen Yiyan shouldn't hurt Lu Shuang for the time being. If she aborted the child within 3 months, it would be too harmful to her body. Okay. Gu Lingqing replied. Take a bath. Baiya also took a bath. They didn't speak, and the atmosphere became subtle. She looked at him, and Gu Lingqing also looked at her. After he was done, he wrapped a bath towel around his waist, squatted down in front of Baiya and said softly, When are you going to marry me? Huh? Baiya didn't expect him to suddenly say this. Her heart was beating so fast that it seemed like it was about to jump out of her throat. Gu Lingqing slightly raised the corner of his mouth. We had a flash divorce, and then a flash marriage. Haha. Baiya looked at his smile, and her eyes and heart sank. The brighter he smiled, the gloomier she felt. However, cruel words had to be said. After all, she couldn't stay with him for long. Without Su Jiran's needle, she would die faster, and there were still many things she hadn't done. Chief, you're thinking too much. We're just making a deal. Gu Lingqing stopped smiling and looked at her determined eyes. His gaze was deep, and he didn't say anything. Baiya also felt that the word deal was too hurtful. She turned her face away, stood up, picked up the bath towel on the shelf, and wrapped it around her body with her back facing him. Gu Lingqing hugged her from behind, and his chest pressed against her back. I don't know why you always reject me so much, and why you don't hesitate to use words that are as sharp as knives to hurt our previous relationship. But I believe that I'm in your heart, so I'll wait for you to let go of your heart and tell me everything. Baiya, no matter what you become, no matter how old, how ugly, or how crazy you are, I love you. Even if you become a burden to me one day, I'm willing to carry you on my back and walk to the end of life together. You're not a burden to me, but a companion to me, Gu Lingqing confessed passionately. Baiya's tears instantly flowed out uncontrollably. These were the best words she had ever heard. Even though she was crying, her heart was still touched, and it touched the deepest part of her soul. She thought that her tears must have been heard by Baiya, who was hiding in the deepest part of her soul, right? So she was sad, she was touched, but she still didn't want to come out, because she knew that if she came out, she would face a parting of life and death. She couldn't accept it. Baiya wiped her tears handsomely, and turned to look at Gu Lingqing. I'm going back. Don't go. Gu Lingqing frowned and pleaded. Chapter 277. She had to go. I'll contact you again, Baiya said calmly, expressing her determination. Gu Lingqing frowned. He knew that once she made up her mind, he wouldn't be able to stop her. He could only take a step back. Let me send you. Baiya didn't refuse. After all, it would be difficult to leave his place. I'm staying at Xingyue Hotel near Wui Road, Baya said. Gu Lingqing knew that she agreed. Wait for me to change. After the two of them changed, Gu Lingqing sent her back. Baya leaned against the chair and looked out of the window. They didn't speak at all. Gu Lingqing's car was getting slower and slower. His friends on electric scooters overtook him. He couldn't help but turn around and give him the middle finger. Other than Baya, who could easily cause his emotions to change, he was quite calm and didn't even look at them. Baya was thinking about something. Later, when she saw that the people on bikes had overtaken her, she looked at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing felt her gaze and felt guilty. He sped up a little and explained, "There's a red light ahead." "Oh," Baya responded with one word. "When are you going to the military?" Gu Lingqing asked. Baya's eyes darkened. She had promised to help him with the test, but it had been delayed until now. If she went to Gu Lingqing's military, Su Jiran would probably be angry. "I need to think about it," Baya said ambiguously. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya and stopped by the roadside. Baya looked at him, puzzled. "What's wrong?" Gu Lingqing lifted her chin, lowered his head and kissed her lips. She didn't push him away, nor did she respond. She looked at him, her eyes almost crossed. She moved back a little. He didn't follow her, only looking at her deeply. She was afraid that Gu Lingqing's gaze would make her heart flutter and sink into it. She turned her face away and pretended to be indifferent to her current emotions. "Let's stop here. I have other places I want to go." She pushed the car door open, and Gu Lingqing held her arm. Baya took a deep breath, adjusted his emotions, and looked back at him. "Let's see each other every day," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. What he said was a statement, not a question. "Heh." Baya chuckled. She didn't know why, but his words made her heart ache. Her eyes were trembling, and she used a smile to hide her emotions. "Even if we're husband and wife, we don't see each other every day. Don't you need to go on business trips? Don't you have a job? Well, we won't see each other again. My job requires me to travel a lot. 4 times a week, no less." Gu Lingqing said domineeringly, as if it was a matter of course. If he threatened to save Lu Shuang, she would have no choice but to see him every day. She would also feel more pressure, pain, and annoyed. He didn't. She thanked him for respecting her, protecting her, and taking care of her emotions at this time. He didn't mention the deal that she mentioned first. This kind of Gu Lingqing would only make her more and more reluctant to leave this world. 3 times a week. I'm afraid I can't do it 4 times. Baya took a step back and said. A trace of emotion flashed through Gu Lingqing's eyes. He held the back of her head, pulled her to his side, and kissed her forehead. The wet kiss fell on her forehead. It was a kind of trust, love, reluctance, heartache, pity, and deep love. Baya didn't move. She closed her eyes and felt his breath on the top of her head. She had an urge to hug him and respond to his feelings. But she couldn't do that. Gu Lingqing looked at her and said softly, "Be careful on the road. I don't want to give you too much pressure. Contact me if there's anything. Don't think that I'm so weak. At least, I'll do everything to protect you." Baya's eyes were red. If she stayed, she would fall apart. She got out of the car and walked forward quickly. Tears were already flowing down her face uncontrollably. She didn't need him to do everything to protect her. She just wanted him to find a new girl and live a peaceful and happy life. She walked for a kilometer in one breath. She entered the shopping center and ran to the bathroom. She turned on the tap and splashed cold water on her face. She looked up at herself in the mirror. Her fingers tapped on the tap rhythmically. Suddenly, she retracted her hand, clenched her fist, and smiled bitterly. Baya didn't want to forget Gu Lingqing. So, she didn't use hypnosis to block her feelings for Gu Lingqing. She just didn't want her heart. Unfortunately, she hid in the depths of her soul and still loved him. How could she not be moved? She just wanted to be a little more rational, a little more normal, and a little more powerful. Then don't come out and make trouble. Baya was furious. She took the vase beside her and smashed it on the mirror. The mirror broke into pieces and reflected dozens of herself. She looked at the dozens of herself in the mirror and gradually calmed down. She was originally a split personality of Baya. She should do what Baya wanted to do. She shouldn't hate Baya. The cleaner of the shopping center came over and saw the broken mirror and the broken pieces of the vase on the ground. She asked Baya in surprise, "What's going on? Did you see who smashed it?" Baya turned around and looked at the cleaner. "I smashed it. Go and ask your leader how much I need to pay for it." The cleaner looked at Baya with a strange expression. Baya looked back at her coldly. "Then don't run away," the cleaner said. "I won't. If you're worried, I'll go with you," Baya said in a low voice. "All right then, come with me." Baya followed the cleaner to the manager's office. The manager asked about the purchase and said to Baya, "It's a total of 1,000 yuan. I only have 400 yuan on me at the moment. I'm staying at the Xinhue Hotel. Please find an employee to follow me to get the money." The manager saw that Baya didn't have any bad intentions. She had a good attitude, and most importantly, she was pretty. "I'll send you there," the manager said. He sent Baya to the Xinhue Hotel and followed Baya upstairs. When Baya opened the door, Su Jiran was already there. He was playing with his phone and looked at Baya with displeasure. His eyes were dark. Baya walked towards Su Jiran without batting an eyelid. She took her phone from his hand and walked to the door. "Is it convenient for you to transfer the money?" "Oh, sure." The manager also saw Su Jiran and thought that he was Baya's boyfriend. He smiled at Su Jiran. Su Jiran didn't even look at the manager. His eyes were locked on Baya. Baya earned 1,000 yuan and gave it to the manager. The manager tactfully left. Chapter 278. Baya smiled and looked at his cold face. "You and the Su Jiran in my memory really haven't changed much. Where do you think I can go?" Su Jiran saw the sarcasm and coldness in her eyes. That sentence didn't feel the same as the Su Jiran in my memory. It was like a bomb exploding in his brain. He had changed a lot for her. Couldn't she see it? "Tell me, where did you go?" Su Jiran said fiercely. It was as if she would go to hell the next second if she didn't say it. Baya looked at Su Jiran calmly. "To do what I should do." "What should you do?" Su Jiran asked. "There are many. Which one do you want to hear first?" Baya said calmly. Su Jiran couldn't see her clearly. It was as if she was separated by mountains and rivers, and she would disappear in the next second. He desperately wanted to do something to prove that he still had her. Su Jiran lowered his head and kissed her on the lips. Baya turned her face away subconsciously. Her action angered Su Jiran even more. He turned her face and forcibly blocked her lips. His red tongue entered her mouth and rolled around wantonly. She was so angry that she couldn't breathe. But she couldn't push him away. The more she pushed him away, the angrier Su Jiran would be. If he used force, how could she escape unscathed? She might as well take a gamble. She kissed him back. Su Jiran was shocked. His eyes widened and he looked at her in surprise. Baya closed her eyes. She couldn't let him see through her thoughts. Otherwise, she would fail on the verge of success. Su Jiran's eyes shone with passion. He kissed her even more fiercely, and the restraint on his hand loosened. She took the opportunity to turn around and pushed Su Jiran against the wall. He squeezed her waist tightly and pulled her to his side. She felt his physiological changes. The thing on her abdomen was too hot, like steel. She quickly let go of him and took a step back. Su Jiran held her waist again. The anger in his eyes disappeared and was replaced by a desire that could not be dispelled. His eyes were bewitching and filled with desire. Xiaoya, I want it, Su Jiran said in a hoarse voice. His Adam's apple moved, his red lips slightly opened, and his breath was uneven. It's not convenient for me now. Baiya furrowed her brows. She was a little worried. She had forgotten to put on the pads. If Su Jiran were to find out, she would probably be doomed. She looked at Su Jiran cautiously. The man's cerebellum was starting to come into play. His brain was indeed not as smart as before. He stroked her red lips. Use it here. After all, Baiya was an adult and had reached the age of maturity. She immediately understood what he meant. She turned her face away. 3 months later. When you were with Gu Lingqing, did you use this to help him? Su Jiran asked. His voice was deep, and his emotions could not be read. Baiya did not know why he asked this question. However, if she gave an affirmative answer, Su Jiran would definitely be angry. If he was angry, it would be hard for her to be safe. My personality is rather cold, Baiya said ambiguously. Su Jiran smiled. I'll teach you slowly in the future. I'll take a shower first. You can change your clothes. I'll take you out at night. Also, I hope you can tell me where we went. It was the same question. Previously, he was at loggerheads. Now, it was much easier to talk to him, and the danger was reduced a lot. Baiya nodded. Su Jiran let go of her waist, turned around, and walked into the washroom to take a cold shower. Helplessly, his little brother had not been comforted by a woman for a few years. He felt bloated and uncomfortable. He closed his eyes and thought of Baiya's kiss just now. His palm was on it, Baiya saw that he was taking a shower. She quickly changed her clothes and stuck a fake sanitary pad on it. Her mind was spinning quickly. Su Jiran walked out of the bathroom 15 minutes later. His eyes were sparkling when he looked at her. They were filled with tenderness, ambiguity, and sexual temptation. Baiya tried to stand calmly. He hugged her waist again and pulled her to his side. His body was still wet and cold. Now you should tell me where we went, right? We went to see my mom, Baiya said calmly. Su Jiran did not believe it. He frowned. Do you have to dress like this to see your mom? She's in my treatment period now. She's recovering well, and she's in good spirits. It's not time for her to see me yet. Su Jiran still did not believe her. He scrutinized her expressionless face. Why didn't you bring your phone when you went to see your mom? I did it on purpose. I didn't want to be disturbed, Baiya said confidently. The person you're talking about, are you talking about me? Or, are you lying now? Su Jiran said in a low voice. Baiya smiled sarcastically. There was not a hint of a smile in her eyes. Do you know why I don't want to say it? Many people always believe what they want to believe and instinctively reject what they don't want to believe. To them, reality is often not important. What's important is the outcome they want. So, Su Jiran, you've already decided on the outcome and have your own guesses. No matter what I say, you won't believe it. To me, it doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. It's up to you. Su Jiran could tell that she was angry. Alright, this matter is over. Every time I can't find you, I'm really anxious like a cat on a hot tin roof. I'll wait for you in your room and play with your phone. I've thought of many possibilities, and every one of them makes me feel uncomfortable. I'm going to explode. I'm going to explode. I used to be a very confident person, but you made me lose my confidence. Baiya lowered her eyes. This world was full of lies, hypocrisy, and cunning. And she, unknowingly, had become the most hypocritical and cunning person. Because of the love in her heart, she killed others. Actually, she was not that great. Su Jiran, don't like me anymore. I'm not worthy of your love, Baiya said coldly. Su Jiran held Bai Ye's hand and kissed it. He smiled devilishly. I'm willing to use my entire life in exchange for you to turn back. Even if you don't turn back, we'll be bound together and grow old together. She retracted her hand and continued to lower her eyes. There were too many thoughts in her mind. Let's go eat. Bai Ye followed him into the private room of the hotel. When she saw Xing Badian and his family, her eyes turned cold. Su Jiran always liked to arrange such a frightening event, and he never got tired of it. She had felt a little guilty for lying to him, but now, that trace of guilt had vanished into thin air. Jiran, why did you bring her here? Xing Jinyan was the first to lose his cool. He stood up and glared at Bai Ye as he said this angrily. Chapter 279. When Chang Ruyan saw this, her face immediately turned pale, and a wave of anger rushed to her brain. She slammed the table and helped Xing Jinyan to scold Bai Ye, simply shameless. She even wants to snatch her sister's man. Bitches are born of bitches. Bai Ye had been kissed by Su Jiran in public. She was also filled with pent-up anger. More importantly, he was hugging her too close, too hot, and too frustrated. She took the opportunity to push Su Jiran away and stared deeply at Chang Ruyan. She said bluntly, I was born from your husband. According to what you said, Xing Jinyan is a slut. If you marry a slut, then aren't you even more slutty? How dare you? Xing Ba Chuan roared. He looked at Bai Ye as if he wanted to cut her into pieces. I'm treating my future son-in-law to a meal today. I have nothing to do with you. Get out now. Xing Ba Chuan pointed at the door. Did he think that she wanted to come? If it weren't for Su Jiran, she wouldn't have wanted to see them. At most, she would just make herself uncomfortable. Bai Ye walked toward the door. Su Jiran grabbed Bai Ye's arm. Bai Ye was instantly enraged. She flung Su Jiran's hand away and glared at Su Jiran. He pulled her into his embrace with brute force and hugged her shoulders. Where are we going? You're my future wife. No matter what, you should stay with me. Su Jiran, what do you mean by this? Tell me clearly. Xing Jinyan couldn't stay calm anymore. He ran over and pulled Su Jiran over. Su Jiran looked at Xing Jinyan coldly. What do you want me to say? Isn't that clear enough? Xing Jinyan widened his eyes and clenched his fists. He felt wronged. How can you do this to me? I waited for you for 3 years and wasted 3 years of my youth on you. Now you don't want me anymore? In the past 3 years, you've earned hundreds of millions, right? Isn't the loss of youth compensation enough? Su Jiran asked. Can a woman's youth be measured by money? What about my feelings for you? How do you calculate that? Feelings? Su Jiran smirked. Have you ever had feelings for me? Or is it a measure of conditions and money? Of course, why else would I stay with you? After being with you, I've never met another man, Xing Jinyan said firmly. Su Jiran picked up his phone and sent a few videos to Xing Jinyan. Take a look at your phone. Xing Jinyan saw that he was texting her. She immediately took out her phone from her bag and saw the 4 videos Su Jiran had sent. She had a bad feeling and clicked on it. The first was her leaving the bar with a foreign man and entering the hotel. The second was the whole process of her party in a private club. The third was the scene of her and a few men in the hotel. The fourth was the scene of her doing something indescribable with a man in the airport lounge. Xing Jinyan's face paled when she saw the video. Do you want to see more? I have a lot of them, Su Jiran said with a smile. You've been following me? Xing Jinyan asked. If you don't have a guilty conscience, why would you be afraid of being followed? So, your so-called youth and so-called feelings are just a joke in my eyes, Su Jiran said sarcastically. Su Jiran, you're a scum. When you were with Bai Ye, you seduced me. When you were with me, you hooked up with Bai Ye. You're a scum. Xing Jinyan was furious. Go ahead and scold me. I'll post a video online for every word you say. I'll post 2 videos for every word you say. I'll post 3 videos for every word you say. This kind of video should be very popular. It's high definition and uncensored, Su Jiran said calmly. Xing Jinyan was speechless. She had always known that Su Jiran was a bad person. But when he was bad, it was really infuriating. Forget it. You've served me well for the past 3 years. Baya only picked up a pair of broken shoes that I didn't want. Get lost, Xing Jinyan said with a different expression. Chang Ruyan looked at Xing Jinyan and then at Xing Buchuan. She felt that the video was definitely not a good thing. Seeing that her daughter's attitude had changed, she sat by the side and didn't say anything. Heh. Su Jiran chuckled and turned around with Baya in his arms. Stop. Xing Buchuan shouted. My daughter isn't someone you can bully. Su Jiran, I'm giving you one last chance. You can still turn back, kneel, and apologize to Xiaoyan. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude to you in the future. Su Jiran smiled meaningfully. Do you think you still have a future? What do you mean? Xing Buchuan was annoyed. You'll know what I mean very soon. Su Jiran walked away with his arms around Baya. Baya turned around and looked at Xing Buchuan, Xing Jinyan, and Chang Ruyan. She knew that Su Jiran had begun his revenge. Su Jiran had said that sentence, do you think you still have a future? He was definitely ready. Xing Buchuan and Xing Jinyan probably wouldn't have such a bright and beautiful life in the future. When they went out, Su Jiran asked Baya, did you feel good just now? Look at my face. Do you think I'll feel good? I just watched a good show, and I'm just a bystander, Baya said calmly. Xing Jinyan bullied you previously. I've already retaliated against her. Don't you feel good? Su Jiran was puzzled. Those little tricks of hers are nothing in my eyes. I don't even care about them. How could she bully me? I'll treat you to dinner. I have a favor to ask of you, Baya said solemnly. What is it? I know that you've already begun your revenge. When the time comes, give me Xing Buchuan for a month. I have use for him. Su Jiran raised his brows. For your mother? Baya nodded. Yes. Su Jiran's lips curled up. He hugged Baya's waist. Then can I bring the 1-month deadline forward? I'm having a hard time holding it in. Baya slowly clenched her fists and looked at Su Jiran's devilish eyes. He was ambitious and determined to get what he wanted. If she stayed by his side, it would be like asking a tiger for its skin, but there was no other way. I can't answer you now. It depends on my mood at that time. Maybe it will be earlier than you think, Baya said ambiguously. Anyway, you can't escape from me. I want to eat seafood today. Let's go. I know a good seafood restaurant, but it's a little far. Su Jiran held her hand and walked in front. Baya furrowed her brows. Now that it was like this, she could only take it one day at a time and deal with it when it came. Chapter 280. I want to treat you to dinner tonight. Are you free? Zhou Hailan said softly. I'm sorry, I'm not free tonight. I'm treating someone to dinner. Baya rejected him directly. How about tomorrow at noon? I have something very important to tell you. You can say it on the phone. It's the same. It's not like we have to meet. Baya subconsciously did not want to see Zhou Hailan. There was no reason. She just did not want to. I have something to give you. I'll wait for you in room 302 of Ziyuan restaurant tomorrow. Be there or be square. After Zhou Hailan said that, he did not wait for Baya to speak and hung up the phone. Baya kept her phone and put it in her bag. Who is it? Su Jiran asked curiously. Zhou Hailan. Baiya did not lie. If she's looking for you, I advise you not to go. I don't think it's anything good. By the way, I heard that Gu Lingqing did not marry her. He gave her the house and savings under his name. Su Jiran said with an unclear expression. Let me think about it. Baiya did not directly say that she did not want to go. Su Jiran frowned. Don't get too close to her. She's not as simple as she looks. As long as she's an adult, she's not simple. Su Jiran, are you simple? Baiya retorted. Su Jiran put his arm around her shoulders and looked at her. What's wrong? Are you angry? Come on, tell me why you're angry. I'm all ears. I think you don't respect me. You just want to control me. It's my freedom to see you or not, Baiya expressed. Su Jiran tapped her nose. I don't want to control you. I just care about you. Alright, let's not talk about this. Let's go eat. I'm hungry. Su Jiran pushed her away. He did not seem to want to communicate with her. He really just wanted to control her. Baiya turned her face away in annoyance and saw a sneaky figure hiding, revealing only a small part of his cap. Someone was following them. Was that person following her or Su Jiran? Su Jiran, Baiya shouted. Someone is following us. Let's talk in the car, Su Jiran said in a low voice. In that case, that person was not one of Su Jiran's men? She didn't like being followed, so she didn't say anything and followed Su Jiran into the car. Don't look back, Su Jiran reminded. He fastened his seatbelt and drove. Baiya looked at the rearview mirror. A tall, thin man wearing a cap walked out and got into the car. Who are they? Baiya asked. I don't know. Sit tight, Su Jiran said in a low voice. A similar light flashed in his eyes as he drove. The car sped along the road. It was rush hour. Su Jiran drove like a madman, driving recklessly. She grabbed the handle of the car door and remembered that 3 years ago, Su Jiran also drove recklessly on the road. In the past, Gu Lingqing saved her. Now, she was alone. Slow down. You'll hit someone, Baiya reminded. Are you worried about my driving skills? Su Jiran frowned as soon as he finished speaking. His eyes were shining with hidden meaning. I know who is following us. Who? Baiya followed Su Jiran's gaze and looked ahead. There was an obstacle in front. The traffic police seemed to be waiting for him on purpose. He wanted to reverse the car, but there was an obstacle behind him. Baiya seemed to know who was following them. Gu Lingqing, Su Jiran said with certainty. Baiya frowned. Is Gu Lingqing protecting her? Su Jiran got out of the car and walked towards the traffic police. He smiled and said, I didn't break the law, did I? You were racing during rush hour and ran more than 6 red lights in a row. Do you think you broke the law? The traffic police said seriously. Officer, someone was following me just now. I was just trying to avoid him, Su Jiran explained. That's your problem. I only care about the convenience of traffic. Detain him first. Go through the legal process and detain him, the traffic police said impartially. Su Jiran knew that since someone had arranged it, they would not give him face. Can I make a phone call? The traffic police thought for a moment and nodded. Sure. Su Jiran made a call and said in a deep voice, I'm at Guang and Road because I was racing and ran a red light. I need to be detained and dealt with. He put away the phone and walked towards Baiya. He opened the door of the front passenger seat. This car is being detained. I'm going to the detention center for a few hours. Wait for me to come out and we'll have supper together. Baiya saw that he was calm and nodded. Then I'll go back to the hotel first. I'll wait for you until 10. I'm going to sleep after that. Su Jiran rubbed Baiya's head. Don't forget to have dinner. I'll contact you when I'm out. Baya pushed his hand away. I'm not a small animal. Don't rub my head. It's messy. What a heartless woman. I'm going to the detention center, but she's not gentle at all. Su Jiran sighed. If you want to be gentle, I'll give it to you. I won't say any more. Go early and come back early, she said decisively. She was really straightforward. Perhaps, this was what he liked about her sincerity. Su Jiran left with the traffic police. Baya called back to Shinue Hotel. When her phone rang, she saw that it was an unknown number. She did not want to pick it up and hung it up. The unknown number rang again. She frowned and picked it up. She asked in a bad tone, "Who is it?" "What's the matter?" "I'm Gu Lingqing. I'm calling you from a hidden number. Remember to delete the caller ID after the call. This number can't be found on mobile. I'll be detaining Su Jiran for a few days. Call me if you need anything." "Memorize my number," Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. "Why are you doing this? You said that locking Su Jiran up for a few days isn't going to solve the root of the problem. It's completely useless and will only increase the conflict between the two of you. Also, your protection is actually hurting me," Baya said angrily. She still had things for Su Jiran to do. If Su Jiran was locked up, it would only delay her progress. After a month, she did not know how to get out of this unscathed. What she needed was speed. Gu Lingqing felt her anger and fell silent. She knew that he was doing this because he cared about her. She should not vent her anger on him. She took a deep breath and adjusted her emotions. Don't do this in the future. Xiaoya, why do you want to stay by Su Jiran's side? Are there things that he can do that I can't? Gu Lingqing asked directly. Don't worry about my affairs. I have my own ideas. Just do your own things. That's all. I'm hanging up. Baya hung up the phone directly. Gu Lingqing narrowed his eyes. He felt that there must be things that Su Jiran could do that he couldn't. What were those things? Chapter 281. She deleted the number, threw her phone on the bedside table, and lay on the bed. She was too tired and fell asleep without taking a shower. That night, she had a dream. She dreamt that she was sitting on a boat, surrounded by a lake that she could not see the edge of. The surface of the lake was sparkling, reflecting her face. Gu Lingqing was also sitting on the boat. He leaned over, kissed her, took off her clothes, and did shameful things with her. When she felt comfortable, Gu Lingqing's face turned into Su Jiran's. She was shocked and wanted to escape in a panic. Su Jiran held her waist, not letting her go, and forced himself on her. She kicked him away in fear. She had nowhere to retreat, and jumped into the lake. At the bottom of the lake, she saw a woman who was also naked. She swam towards her. It was a face that looked exactly like hers, and it was tearful. Her arm tightened. Gu Lingqing held her hand and swam upwards. She turned around. The woman had already stood up and was waving at her. Baya's heart tightened. She suddenly woke up and sat up. She was covered in sweat. Did you have a nightmare? Su Jiran asked. Baya was surprised to see him. Her eyes were wide open, and her eyelashes were trembling. Perhaps it was because she had just woken up, and her mind was not very clear yet. She fell back onto the bed and closed her eyes. Su Jiran chuckled. Baya, you're quite cute sometimes. Baya heard Su Jiran's voice clearly. She was sure that he was really in her room. She opened her eyes again. When did you get here? I just came in for a minute. Su Jiran bent his arm and looked at the watch on it. Baya also grabbed the phone on the bedside table. She looked at the time. It was already 6:20 in the morning. Have breakfast with me. I have to go back and rest for a while after eating. Su Jiran used a declarative sentence. Baya did not want to argue with him. It would be more troublesome if he stayed here to sleep. I'm going to wash up, Baya said. She entered the bathroom, locked the door, and took a shower. She changed into yesterday's clothes and brushed her teeth. It seemed like she should buy some clothes. It took her 15 minutes to get out of the bathroom. Let's go. Su Jiran walked in front of her. Baya followed behind him, keeping a distance of 1 meter between them. Did you call Gu Lingqing and ask him to let me go? Su Jiran suddenly asked. No, why do you ask? Baya lowered her eyes. It's strange that he suddenly let me go. Could it be that he doesn't want you to treat me to seafood? The corners of Su Jiran's mouth twitched. His eyes were filled with disbelief as he looked at Baya dotingly. Baya's head was still lowered as he thought about the dream he had. He was a little flustered. Su Jiran waved his hand in front of her. What are you daydreaming about? What are you thinking about? Think about the dream you had just now. Some scientists who study dreams say that dreams can reflect the condition of the body, which is also due to the influence of life and environment. Sometimes, dreams can give people enlightenment, Baya said thoughtfully. What kind of dream did you have? Tell me about it. Perhaps I can answer it for you, Su Jiran said with a smile. Baya gave him a strange look. She would never tell him about her dream. You're not an expert. Let's go and have breakfast. I'll go buy some clothes after that. Do you need me to accompany you? Su Jiran asked. Baya shook his head. I can do it alone. Su Jiran took out a card from his wallet and handed it to Baya. The password is 333520. Baya pushed his hand away. I have money. I'm not used to using other people's. Su Jiran knew that if she said she didn't need it, she wouldn't use his. 3 years ago, Baya was so poor. Now that Baya was rich, it was even more so. Okay then, I'll treat you to a movie tonight. He put his arm around her waist and walked into the elevator with her. Baya looked at her reflection on the elevator. Because she hated her hypocritical self, she lowered her eyes. As soon as they got out of the elevator, Su Jiran's phone rang. He saw that it was Xing Jinyan's caller ID. He answered the call and pressed the speaker button. What's wrong? Su Jiran, my father was taken away by the discipline inspection team early in the morning. Did you do it? Xing Jinyan complained angrily. I'm not in charge of discipline inspection. I don't have that much power. You said yesterday that my father didn't have a chance. If it wasn't you, who else could it be? Xing Jinyan was very agitated. If your father didn't do anything wrong, he'll be innocent. It doesn't matter if he's taken away by the discipline inspection team. He'll be released. If he's done all kinds of evil and abused his power for personal gain, it's normal that he can't be released. I'm going to have breakfast now. I don't have time to listen to your complaints. Bye. Su Jiran hung up. He hung up the phone. You're quite fast, Baya said in a low voice. Because of you, I'm already 3 years late. The information I have is enough to sentence Xing Bachuan and Xing Jinyan to death. But I promised to give him to you for a month, so I'll play slowly, Su Jiran explained and opened the door of the front passenger seat. Baya got into the car and put on her seatbelt. Su Jiran was quite scary. The power and influence behind him were not inferior to Gu Lingqing's. For the sake of Gu Lingqing's safety, she should actually let Su Jiran see her determination towards Gu Lingqing. Su Jiran got into the driver's seat and drove Baya to have breakfast. The sun shone on her snow-white face, making it even more dazzling. Su Jiran held her hand, enjoying the silence and the space with her around. Even though they did not speak, he could feel the sweetness in the air. Baya's phone rang. She was shocked and took it out of her bag. It was Cheng Jinrong's. She was surprised that Cheng Jinrong would call at this time. She answered the phone and greeted politely, "Good morning. Baya, are you still treating Governor Lu's son?" Qing Jinrong asked worriedly. That day, because of the incident with Lu Shuang, she left without saying goodbye to Qing Jinrong. She was a little apologetic. Well, I have to go back to City A. Governor Lu interfered with my treatment process, so my contract with him has been terminated. What's wrong? That's good. It shouldn't involve you. Qing Jinrong breathed a sigh of relief. What happened? Baiya had a bad feeling. Do you still remember that Lu Xingzhou's son raped the campus belle? I know. Lu Xingzhou's family should have used money to deal with this matter. What's wrong? Did something similar happen? This morning, the campus belle's family was killed. Now the police are investigating. I suspect that it was done by that kid, so I'm worried about your situation, Qing Jinrong explained. Baiya's eyes dimmed. Becoming a demon with a single thought, becoming a Buddha with a single thought. Most of the time, a child's worldview was led by their parents. Lu Biao was originally a very intelligent child. Unfortunately, his outlook on life was distorted by his parents. She could do nothing about it. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.